Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. We're seeing North American stock futures back in negative territory once again this morning, coming off a little bit of a up and down session, I guess is a good way to put it, from Friday. We saw individual names really strong, but others struggling heading into the weekend. It was, in fact, the worst performing week for North American equity since back in February of this year, as inflation concerns crept back in. Meanwhile, another volatile weekend for cryptocurrencies. Elon Musk clarifying Tesla's position, if anyone was wondering, saying that he has in fact, or Tesla has in fact not sold any of their Bitcoin holdings. Bitcoin this morning just holding below the $45,000 level. We'll talk about that coming up. Overall, though, very volatile week, as I mentioned, for all three major U.S. indexes. The S&P down 4%. We had both the NASDAQ and the Dow off about 1% and change by the end of the week. Earnings season wrapping up this week. We'll get some retail names coming through. We're about 90% of the way through the overall S&P 500 as far as earnings are concerned. Still, 86% reporting an upside surprise for this Q1 report, which is much better than expected and much higher than the average. Number of names, individual names moving this morning. We'll talk about Discovery and AT&T, the news coming out this morning of the merger with Warner Media. QS moving, QuantumScape back to the upside this morning, and some more individual names to get to as well. It's Monday, May 17th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. A little bit negative, as we mentioned, coming into a Monday here. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we'll show you the markets here coming up in a few seconds. We are actually down 0.4% on the S&P as it stands. As we mentioned, both Bitcoin and Ethereum coming back in a little bit as well. Good morning, guys. It's Monday. Sean is back in the building. We had Arun taking over on Friday. Thanks for everyone joining us and hanging out with Arun on Friday. Good to see Sean back this morning for a Monday. Guys, lots to get to this morning. Another pretty crazy weekend for cryptocurrencies, moving all over the place. We had Elon Musk at it again. We have more earnings to come this morning and also throughout this week. Going to be an interesting one.
Deja vu all over again, I believe is the phrase. So we're seeing much more of the same thing. Did they sell a position? Did they not? When it comes to Tesla, who knows? It does seem like this is probably more of an excuse than anything else for a move that was coming to the downside that was probably going to happen anyways. Ignore this chart. I'm actually in this ARPO. It's a small cap and a couple of ones that are going to be pretty good so far this morning. We're off to a decent start. Of course, a lot of people talking about that Discovery news as well. So we'll be talking about that. Some of the moves from last week have some potential fall through, and we're going to be looking at some Macy's because there's all kinds of earnings across the retail space, and Macy's, was crushing it all day long on Friday. It was a good one. Glad to have you back there, Sean. It should be a heck of a lot of fun. Palantir was up. Yeah. A lot of your names were up. We tried to make sure we let everybody know. We actually both were trading Palantir, by the way, and some good long opportunities. I think it's going to be on the radar once again today. I mean, it always is, but on the watch list and on the move again.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's great to be back. And sitting at home, I built this huge, maybe I'll find a picture of it, this big, huge pergola thing. It was ridiculous. It said needed 4 adults. Me and my wife held that down, which was crazy. And then my dad came over on the weekend with a little bit of help. But welcome back. It's Retail Bonanza Week today. Well, starting this week. Home Depot on track, Target, Lowe's. You mentioned Macy's there. Everything, TJ Maxx, everything's reporting this week. It should be a good one. I'm excited for it. We're already into MindMed, and we're already belly dancing a little bit here. 8 cents, not huge. We'll wait to see where this prints. We're long at 67. It's printing 78s, so 11 cents right now on MindMed. I think that has a chance to go. Project Lucy blasting off today. We'll find out more about that as we go through our watch list. But look, we're excited to be back. We'll talk about crypto. Don't worry about that. That's going to be coming up soon. And let the fun begin on a Monday in May.
Yeah, congratulations to our friends at MindMed. We talked to J.R. Ron the last time he was on about that Project Lucy. So the FDA meeting has a date now when they're going to discuss that Project Lucy with the FDA. So great for them, great for MindMed. Up big time in the pre-market here. Let's get over to the desk to kick things off this morning and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning and welcome back, everyone. Guys, I wish you a wonderful, profitable week. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's get it started, Brandon.
Let's get it started. We'll update you on the markets, guys, as promised. We had a little issue there at the beginning, but there we go. 0.41 for the S&P right now. The NASDAQ leading once again. That inflation word that is not a four-letter word, but could be as far as the markets are concerned. Bitcoin here, 8%. Ethereum, 12% so far. So, yeah, pretty negative so far to start off a brand new week. It is going to be an interesting one as far as inflation is concerned, guys. We saw this creep in last week with the CPI, consumer price, and the manufacturing side of things as well. Came out higher than expected last week. So this whole move back towards the safe haven stocks away from growth happened again and continued right into the weekend. But as we said, Palantir was one that stood out as just a monster on Friday. Huge bounce for Palantir. We saw some of the other names coming back to life a little bit on Friday as well. So, I mean, caution, I guess, is a good word to start the week here.
I mean, it's a little bit skittish. I mean, I look at some of the strongest names from Friday. You mentioned Palantir. I'll remind how strong DoorDash was, and you know, like, essentially it was a monster move. And of course, we talked about this, and we had this one on the show. But coming right back in and sort of basically, just down a 1%. And given how strong it was, I'm seeing a sort of a similar thing here with Palantir. Some gains looking like they're being consolidated, at least going into the start of the week. But it doesn't have a doom and gloom feeling. I think we've sat down in the mornings and felt a little bit worse. Worse for wears, I mean, in terms of a panic feel to it, and then thought there was going to be one of those bounce back buys. So the fact that it's a little bit to the downside, there are some concerns. There could be some trimming that comes off the table potentially in some names. I think there's going to be some deals to be had if this market rolls over a little bit further. We were waiting to see if this move to the downside would continue across the board in terms of not just the growth names, not just the like the Dow when it participated, and now you're actually seeing the crypto names start to come back in as well, and maybe that's what accelerates a little bit of this. And one of the things that I will note is, and this is probably would have been a mistake. When we were taking two longs on Friday, one of them was Square and one of them was DoorDash. It was like it should have been double down DoorDash, given that you had Square was sort of at least a little bit involved with the negativity when it came to the crypto space. And I think that could have weighed down some of the breakout that it had, whereas DoorDash really showed no signs of abating there. Whether or not that's going to happen again this week, it doesn't look quite as strong in this particular name, but the retails should be the real story.
Yeah, I was really happy. I mean, retail is going to be, but you already mentioned, I think the retail is probably a little bit ahead of itself there. Like Macy's up 14% on Friday. Woo-oo. That's a big move there for sure. Okay, so Palantir, yeah, it's sad because actually Neil messaged me and said I would have been up $1 gazillion. Maybe not that much, maybe $1 million. But I don't know, what is a gazillion? Is that like 1,000 million?
I don't even think it's
not a trillion, right? 1,000 million's a trillion?
Yeah, I mean, gazillion's just one of those made up fun.
A gazillion, I think, is 1,000 trillion, so that would not have been happening. I would have taken maybe $1,000 bucks, would have been nice. Okay, but here you go. So 18, I mean, a big move there. We're gonna watch to see if it holds this 1950. Here's a 20-minute chart as well for Palantir. So, you come down, there's this 1950 right here. Not much else. We started, I remember these levels. I mean, obviously when you trade it like we do here, you remember these levels. 1950 held there again, and then you had some consolidation there at 1950. If you're gonna go long 1950, you gotta get out though, if it breaks it, because the next move down, like I don't even really see it holding too much at 19. I think we could test 1850, but we're ultimately gonna just watch the NASDAQ, right? As the NASDAQ goes, everything else will go. I don't know if we want to talk crypto yet. We do have a few things on our mind coming through here. Coinbase is going to be one of the first stocks that we do talk about. But just for all of you Cardano heads, what crypto crash we say? It did get as high as 246, so there's no doubt about that. But you're still at 213. You're still way high on Cardano. When I was on vacation for one day, you can see here that maybe we can, how do I zoom? I don't even know how, there we go, if I zoom this in. Even if you just go back to like Friday, we were at like about what was that? We made right here. So $2 up to 213 today, up to 240. Obviously, you have Ethereum back down. Remember that level I tweeted out a while ago, that 3,300 level? So we're going to watch. It's been bouncing right now off 3,400. We'll see if it can come back down. I was buying last night, but it's down a little bit lower from where it was last night. So we may have to buy again here coming up. Nice rebound, but yeah, there's the touch bottom there, 31.20. Basically late last night. So we'll wait to see if that level can hold. But hey, look, Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I think we said it on the show a couple times, Neil and Brendan, is like we can't cheer Tesla when they put it on their balance sheet and then sort of, you know, ho-hum it when they're not sure what the story is with it, right? So I don't expect Elon to be controlling a Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything like that. Obviously, we saw what he did to Dogecoin, him and Mark Cuban and some of those other guys, but I just think that Ethereum and Bitcoin have so much more power to them than a Dogecoin does. So I'm going to be looking forward to a crypto rebound a little bit today, and then we'll see what happens next weekend. A lot of the moves happening over the weekend, Brendan.
Yeah, definitely. Let's bring in Mark Roberts here, president of Sun Lake Strategies, get his take on the brand new week. Some earnings to come, as we said. Good morning, Mark. Good to see you once again. Welcome to a Monday morning here. Let's get right into this because it's the topic of the morning, I guess, this AT&T Discovery news. How do we play this? I was just looking at both T and DISCA, both, you know, fading off from this gap to the upside. How are you looking to take advantage of this?
I'm going to give this another day to see how it all plays out. Listen to the conference call when they come out this morning and this evening, and sort of get an idea, because this is going to affect everybody. This is all content related, so it'll affect everything from Netflix, Comcast, Disney, and the like. So I want to give it another extra day instead of trying to jumpstart where the position should be going out. Verizon and telephone have tended to be the real laggards because they were lost souls trying to find their way. This will sort of change the playing field.
And when it comes to the rest of, I mean, you mentioned a couple there, but when it comes to the rest of these streaming type media or, you know, media broadcasting type companies, what does this form exactly as far as a competitor for the rest and some of the ones you mentioned there?
Well, I mean, it has tremendous content. The question is, how much can we all watch at the same time? And the other side of it is, how much are we willing to pay for everything? So I think it all has to sort of play out, take a step back, and just wait and listen and hear what you hear. But I'm not jumping into this space so quickly, other than owning Disney and trying to buy Comcast on a dip.
One of the interesting points I saw in this release was the fact that both classes of Discovery shares are going to be merged into a single share with a single voting right. If someone was maybe invested in one or the other and hasn't really experienced something like that before, what does that mean for investors?
It's probably better for the companies than it will be for the investor. Typically, this tends to be the case, but I don't think you've seen the end of this yet, because you're going to find a number of these companies spinning off assets into either another class of share or another company. What comes to mind, I still believe Disney eventually spins off ABC or ESPN. That'll drive Verizon to do something. That'll drive Comcast to do something. So all of this is going to continue to play out.
And lots of names potentially involved here. So, I mean, as you said, patience might be the best way to approach this. Another one in that group, Viacom CBS, a little bit of a rumor over the weekend with George Soros possibly getting involved, taking advantage of that Archegos mess as that unwind was taking place. I mean, it is higher here this morning in the pre-market. What are your thoughts on Viacom?
I don't trust anybody who buys something at a deep discount, if you will. Don't forget, they don't have to disclose anything for 3 months. So he's disclosed he's bought the shares. That's perfectly fine. But we don't know if up $5, $6, $7 he sets and puts the shares back out. So I take it as a trading source of information, not an investment source of information.
Let's talk earnings because we're getting to the end. We mentioned at the beginning there, 90% of this earnings season now behind us. 86% of companies reporting better or upside beats in this Q1. I mean, from a general standpoint here, that's pretty impressive considering, the state of the economy.
I would say extremely bullish. I think it caught a few of the analysts flat-footed. I was always looking for better than expected earnings. I was looking for more information on guidance. You started to get more guidance. I'm more interested whether the pandemic winners or stay at home can survive the headwinds of the next earnings season. But this week, as you were briefly talking about before, is all about retail.
Speaking of that, welcome, Mark. Happy Monday, first of all. We're all excited to get back at the markets. Retail, retail, retail. So, and I do want to ask you about, we'll talk a little Walmart, Lowe's, and some of the bigger names, but can we discuss just Macy's, if only because, as Sean mentioned, and we were watching this one on Friday, the daily chart probably doesn't do the move justice. From like a 16 all the way into an 18, but you essentially look at what was the entirety of the range for the last 2 months, and then we put it up in one day. We're going into retail earnings across the board. What are your thoughts on a move like this? Is this like a bit of a tale that the blowout's going to continue and you're going to have some fantastic numbers, or is this getting ahead of itself? Do you read anything into extreme moves like that in a sector or in a particular name going into earnings?
I don't really. The simple reason Macy's has 13 or 14% of its float is short. I'm not a big believer in Macy's. I think you're going to have to work your way through the food chain and see whether or not the Dillards, the Nordstroms, and the like are eating each other's lunch. I think it's going to be a few days of sifting through what you hear from the various companies that report. I'm suspect at the moment. These are all trades for me, other than obviously the ones I already own.
Yeah, and speaking of maybe not trades and more along the other end of the spectrum, if we can call it that, let's talking a little bit about Lowe's. Whether Lowe's, Home Depot, whichever one you happen to prefer, I think there's something to be said about that battle waging sort of back and forth there, but not necessarily the same type of move towards the end of the week. So a little bit more muted. It's essentially flat here, and I'm looking across the board. I mean, there's so much that just feels like oddly flat when I was expecting a little bit of strength maybe this morning, but that's another thing. Tell me your thoughts here. I'm a Walmart person and probably lean a little bit more towards a Home Depot, but Lowe's is kind of put in this nice little range here. Looking at that daily, like this 195 sort of double bottom just feels to me like anything you'd ever nibble going before the earnings, or this is always going to be a bit of a wait and see. And do you think there's a trend that could continue in any of these names where earnings are fantastic, but it simply doesn't matter? Are we getting more of that this week?
I think what's going to happen is the way they sold off on Friday was a question of positioning by funds into the earnings. I only hope that the number comes in as expected, sells off so I can add more. A Target has always been a better play than a Walmart. I happen to be in Walmart, but if Target should pull back on any weakness in here, I would probably start a position in Target and not add to the position in Walmart. LOW to me is a better run company than Home Depot, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
Oh, you're teasing me with that Target situation there. You alluded to this at least a little bit when it comes to the content and in the deal that just came through here. Now, obviously, we've seen, and I know I hate to always keep coming back to Disney, right? But competition just keeps on rearing its ugly head here, and we're now post those earnings. Now, we didn't absolutely flush, and candidly, I was shorting Disney on Friday as a day trade, obviously. But we didn't exactly flush through like 170. I mean, obviously, we're getting a little bit of consolidation. And we had talked about waiting for 160 to do basically just about anything with Disney, maybe even trimming the position here. Do you have any different thoughts with reaction specifically to Disney, like because of this increased competition coming through with the recent AT&T deal?
The way Disney collapsed and came back was miraculous, considering it had probably 5 times normal volume. The only thing that worries me is the playing field is getting more crowded and more expensive, and I'm not sure how Disney's going to play it out. Again, I go back to they have to do some spin-off to get more credibility and to self-design, if you will, their businesses. So I think that's critical. I'm not sure what they're waiting for, but I think Disney is effectively in a trading range of 160 to 180 for the time being. It doesn't mean you don't want to stay with Disney. I just don't think you're going to have the risk reward you will in some of the other names.
Okay, one last thing before we get out of here. And first off, I want to remind everybody we do have our Q&A today, and the Stockfather will be joining us. So we'll leave some further discussion. I know you guys are going to have lots of questions for Mark here. Maybe one name, just one if you can, something that you're watching this week that wouldn't be necessarily at the top of the radar before we get you out of here.
I'm looking at, with masks coming off, cosmetics. Estee Lauder, Ulta, those names. Every person I've seen is starting to wear, or I should say women are starting to wear makeup as I was walking around over the weekend. This may end up being the quiet play, so I'm leaning toward those stocks as we move forward.
Excellent. Ulta Beauty, what? I can't wear makeup? What's going on here? How do you think we look so good on the show? I know. That's actually a fantastic play, and you got my mind spinning a little bit here because I said, oh, Ulta Beauty. The second you mentioned that note there. So as always, the Stockfather, you can't put him on the spot without him giving gold.
One more, the drugstores as well sell the cosmetics. Don't forget CVS and the like.
Yeah, CVS, great name, of course. I mean, he gives you more than we even ask for. Again, Mark, thank you so much. Everybody, don't forget to tune in. Q&A is today after the show. Mark will be joining us. Thanks a lot, Stockfather.
Take care.
And right on cue, upgrades and downgrades. There it is, Ulta Beauty. UBS agreeing with Mark Roberts, almost like that was not planned. 4%. Abercrombie and Finch on here. Dick's, another retailer. Oxy here as well. Bumble to the downside today. That one had quite the week last week, if you remember. Plug Power over here as well, coming off very volatile week in this solid biosciences. We'll have a look at a little bit later on, guys, on the downgrade side.
Oh, we forgot Abercrombie. Ooh, Bumble with the downgrade. I mean, yeah, that was a name that was beaten up, but was not nearly as bad as I expect. Well, I shouldn't say that. It wasn't nearly as bad as I expected on Friday's action. It was able to get a little bit back, but showing some weakness. There's so many names that are just slightly down, looking a little bit weak today. Bumble catching the downgrade. Every now and then, it's pretty obvious which direction the analysts are going to be coming through post-earnings with Bumble. So it hasn't done a ton of volume, but it might be on the radar again this week if it threatens that low.
Yeah, Bumble. Yeah, I mean, last week plays, we talked about, second week plays, second day plays, even, and Mark brought up Disney there as well. And yeah, like that flush down was pretty incredible there. Bounced back about 15 minutes into the session there on Friday. And then just a rip to 175. And I'm looking at that 175 today. So we'll see if that can crack. That was the high on Friday there. Just looking at it, I don't love Disney now, but I just think their subscriber numbers, I mean, I guess you guys talked a lot about this on Friday. Let's just wait to see what does happen with Disney. Maybe 175 is a little too high. I think you could take a 174.50 break there on Disney. So we'll see if we can get to that. Quickly, before we start running down our imbalance locator, before we run down our watch list, let's take a look at the imbalance locator. There's AMC again, guys. Wow. Rocking and rolling today. How much are we up? 3.5%, 4%. Today, another big buy there. We talked about AT&T as well. Bank of America. There's Palantir. There's Pfizer. There's Quantum. So they're all here. We'll talk about most of these names coming up, but just a quick look on the imbalance locator. I know a lot of you like that. So with 35 minutes to go, AMC at the top. right now. We'll wait to see if that comes down. I'm guessing it's just going to grow, guys. I mean, the more interest there is in this name, what a wild day that had on Friday, tipping off at 14.50 basically, and then all the way back down to 12.50. So a nice little $2 run to the downside there after some increasing tension, and not tension, I guess, coil up in the stock. I mean, it just took off there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll see if AMC has any sort of pushback today.
A lot of eyeballs on that again on Friday. It was very, very volatile, as we said, or Sean was saying there. We'll have a look at AMC. Let's get right into it here. If you haven't yet, make sure you head over to that link and sign up for our free watch list. Every single day it comes out to you onto that website, absolutely free. All you have to do is register. Facebook, Gmail, email of any sort will get you the free watch list every single day. The first one on that list today, guys, going to be Coinbase. Under pressure here this morning, along with Bitcoin. We saw at the end of last week and the week before even. It is correlated with Bitcoin prices, but it's not correlated with Bitcoin prices. So, yeah, we had a big move to the downside on BTC over the weekend. So, coin in negative territory here again, guys.
Yeah, and we're back below that 250. Well, essentially at that 250. It's been back and forth all pre-market. And of course, I'm talking about the reference price. We did break it. You go back into Thursday, and we did break that price to the downside and held at 247. Call it 247.5. I mean, it's a little bit higher than that, but that's the number that we're going to be watching today, is that 247 area. If it can't hold the low, I think it could be a pretty bad sign here. There's not going to be any significant price levels below, right? There's nothing technical. There's no price history unless you go into the private market, and even then, it can be difficult to find some levels there. And one of the things that we needed to have happen was at least a consolidate, or at least some attempt to consolidate above like 300, and there was just no chance on the way up. So the momentum is coming back in. I think you're going to have to see some stabilization from the bigger names in the crypto space, or at least in the crypto names in general, and that's probably when it's going to make a little bit more sense to be digging back into Coinbase. As far as the day trade goes, I'm immediately looking back at what was a good like 255, 256 level. And then saying to myself, okay, well, unless we're breaking and holding above that price, I don't necessarily love those, love any kind of a long. It's more about letting it bounce instead of just picking that 250 and saying, okay, well, we're at 249. I'll just go long 250 off the open because we love that price. Now, you can't do that anymore. It's got to be above that 55, 56 before I can start thinking about getting back into any day trade long positions for momentum. And if the low breaks, and I'm sort of talking about 247 even, I think we'll give it a little bit because you had that bottom about 247.5, you had 247 and change in the pre-market here. If 247 breaks, it's hard not to take a quick momentum short on Coinbase for the day trade. It's all momentum, guys. That's all we're talking about here. And if it breaks a low, it's hard not to trade it.
Yeah, I'm with you here, Steve G and Neil and everybody here. Where were you, Steve G? There it is. I'm not convinced coin has found its final value for long-term hold, right? I'm not convinced either. So, I mean, we thought a whole bunch of times, we kept talking about it on the show, and Neil just did right now, about that 250 reference price. It's really the only thing that we could go on. This is what Coinbase came to market with. And then you saw the IPO was just absolutely insane. This was one of my more successful IPOs. You never have enough shares when they're right, and you always have too many when they're wrong. But this was a good one. We hit this long, and then actually I remember getting some out at 420. I think it was 420 on the way back down, so 419 or so was my best out there on Coinbase. That's just for a day trade. Since then, I've been buying into my own account. I haven't put any buys on. I think my long is still stuck in here, 290, between 290 and 300, because I know I bought some in this 300, 320 area, and then we did buy some down lower. So I might even be higher than that, stuck a bit. So I'm not going to put more money in. I just want to see it hold these levels. We just came off earnings. You saw the 20-minute chart. I actually wrote down on the sticky note, it's the very top, 250 to 248, there it is, that I thought those levels might be something. Neil just reminded us that it was actually 247, I guess, was that bottom. So yeah, I made a mistake there. I wrote down 248, but yeah, 247. We'll see if it can break there. It's already been down there this afternoon. I guess 248 was the wick down there on, we didn't get that low on Friday, but we did get that low the day before earnings there on Thursday, right into earnings, 247.70 or so. So we'll look to see if it can hold that. I'm not super worried about this, but I'm liking it for the long term. And I think a 250 break to the upside is where you want to be. But I also think you got to hit that downside risk as well. I just checked pay for shorts. They're fine for us. We don't have to do that. So if there's anybody there looking to short it, make sure your broker has enough shares. The last thing you want to do is put in that limit order to go short. Remember, Coinbase down that 3%. We have BTC bouncing around right now. It's just at 45,000 as we speak right now. So again, watch out for Bitcoin versus Coinbase. I'm still not convinced, and I don't know, I can't figure it out, why the price of Coinbase is really tied to the price of Bitcoin. I think the more that Bitcoin goes down, I think at this point, people will average in. I mean, look, most of the holders on Coinbase, you can actually go to their website and it shows you how long traders are holding coins for, and they're quite long. So that's not a good thing because Coinbase makes money, of course, on the transaction. I think it was to add money, I think it's like 4% or something they take on a trade, which is bad. And they do that on the buy and the sell. And then to trade swap credits or currencies or tokens inside is basically free. But the point is to buy more, you got to pay more, right? And so I think if they're going to take 4% on most buys, and I know that's just Coinbase, there's Coinbase Pro and there's a few different things, but the point is they're going to make a lot of money as people re-up and buy some of these dips. So I like Coinbase for a long term. That's not just their only revenue frame source. So we'll see where Coinbase goes from here. But I'm getting ready to put more money in. I will put more money in today. Like at 250, I'm confident with that, but I'm not sure the move down isn't finished yet. There's been a lot of negativity, man. You saw Bumble, Brendan, and a lot of these recent IPOs have just gotten killed. So let's see where Coinbase goes from here. But as far as the business goes, I like it.
Yep, and the other interesting note on that was it was better part of 90% fees, better part of 90% of their earnings in this quarter that just came out. Let's bring in Arun here and have a look at the overall market. We'll check in to see what we need to be aware of today, Arun, as far as the futures are concerned. What are you looking at?
We're doing the same thing from Friday. We just got to continue that trade. 41.31 is where I got long on Friday. I used 41.15 as a stop. That's the only level I've got still. 41.15 is the stop on the bottom. And we got 41.80 that was just put in overnight. So we can mark that off for now. I want to see some sort of a setup before I decide to take a short side move. But it does look like it's whatever momentum we had going up, it's kind of slowed down. Now we're coming just as fast to the downside. So I'd be careful because given how there's no space, there's really nothing to work with from 41.15, the stop level, all the way up to the high that we just put in. So it can come just as fast to the downside because the way it went up on Friday was in one direction. So we can do the same thing to the downside again. So 41.15 on the downside, 41.80 is the top end. And if we can get into the 30s again, I think you can take a look at potential longs. With futures out of the way, I just want to point out this shirt here was one of our viewers sending it in. I finally got it on Friday, and I shout out to Mr. Bo Wang. Thank you for sending it in. I kind of made this little thing a while ago, I think a few weeks ago, that if you guys send me the shirts, I'll put them on air or wear them on air. As long as they're not offensive, I'll do it. Thank you for sending it in. So much appreciated for the viewers to kind of stepping in and throwing some pizzazz, I guess would be the word I would use, onto my attire. And for today, I'm liking this money shirt. This is looking like a good start to the week there, Brendan.
Here, I thought you just got busy with some tape over the weekend with all those $100 bills. No, that's great. Yeah, much appreciated. Thanks, Arun. We'll check in again tomorrow morning. Before we get to the open, let's jump on to Discovery here, guys, because Discovery, AT&T, Discovery K or A, we can look at both of them. Again, if you missed the note, they are going to merge. So both classes of Discovery shares going to merge into one consolidated with this announcement this morning. And like Mark was saying, I mean, there's so much content involved in this deal, really. I mean, we're talking, CNN, we're talking HBO, Discovery, obviously, but it's a lot here.
Yeah, look, it is a big deal. There's absolutely no question about it. And I think, one of the things to keep in mind is as we look at the chart, and obviously, today it would have come down since it reopened, of course, because it was halted news pending when the deal got announced here. It came down like $4, but you always have to remember where a lot of this has come from. And as Mark said, it's very, very difficult to sort of, after you've had a move in Discovery like we already did, and then trying to find a bottom, which it seems like it did at about like $35, you then get a monster merger like this, and you're trying to price the stock. Now, candidly speaking, like everything about the setup looked like it was probably short when it reopened. But it was very, very difficult to sort of put that on. And considering the fact that I do think long-term, this is probably going to be pretty good for them. But I don't know what you do to invest. Allow it to sort of, if you like this, allow it to settle down, like Mark said. In terms of trading it, the best thing I could probably tell you is that, I mean, obviously if we get another shot at like the 41 to 41.5 range, I think it's probably worth a bit of a sell. There's going to be those that are going to want to take a little bit of profit here. But if we get down to this 38 area and so show some consolidation, anytime it's post-deal, I would always prefer to see big buyers step in, whether in the form of big icebergs, whether in the form of just large share order size. Sometimes the momentum slowing down to the downside matters, but you almost really want to see some big shares start floating around their post-deal announcement before you want to necessarily step in there and be a buyer. It should have been a rollover that I was looking at. I know some guys in the chat are like, yeah, I bet you Neil's short in Discovery. Not after that reopen, but I'll be looking down towards that 38. There is going to be a point, if this thing just decides to give all the way back, I don't think it goes back to previous close, but if it does start to go that low, there's going to be a lot of value to be found, and there's going to be some big names, arb traders that are going to step in and probably buy this one up. We'll be looking at Discovery. I mean, I'm always looking at Discovery A, if only because it tends to do the most volume. I didn't double check that with K, Brennan, but I'm assuming that's still the case. That's why it'll always be Discovery A class that we're trading live here on the show. But I'm looking back to that 38. That's probably where I'd play a bounce. If it doesn't get there, I'm unlikely to do anything and just play momentum after the open.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in this until we do exactly what Neil said there, play the momentum. So, but first of all, what is this apple fritter? Like, so I saw in a chat, obviously, on Friday, because I wasn't here, that there was some sort of an apple fritter love. What was that? Like, I've known you for 25 years probably, maybe longer, and I know that you love apple fritter. So was there some controversy?
It wasn't even that there was controversy. So essentially what happened was Arun, I don't remember why he said someone get Neil an apple fritter, blah blah blah, and then it was like, well, why don't you just get me an apple fritter? And then he refused to do it, and I'm like, Arun's bigger than me, so what am I supposed to do about it? And then Randy got me an apple fritter, and I was like, I don't want to. I said I don't want to eat it live on the show because it's disgusting, and you guys don't want to see me eat.
Right.
And then of course everyone wanted to see me eat an apple fritter. I ate it at the exact same moment that AMC was making moves to the top, so I got stopped out while eating the fritter and missed the re-entry point. Well, anyways, it was.
Anyway, so the apple, so your love of apple fritter cost you an entry point on AMC.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It was delicious, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because then people are like, "Oh, we got to watch it. We got to watch it." I was like, "Okay, I'll watch the clip." But we have been talking, Neil, Brendan, and myself, Valeria, all of us actually, have been talking about like a little bit of a highlight reel. So maybe we'll put something together for highlight. Maybe you guys want to see a weekly highlight reel or a daily highlight reel? Put in the chat, let us know, because maybe that's something that our production team and all of us can work on. Because we don't have enough to do already, Brendan.
No. Many more hours in the day. Apple Fritter Gate will be the title of our first video, possibly. Let's go to QuantumScape, guys. Pretty volatile back on Friday. Trying to bounce here this morning, though. Volkswagen and QS announcing, this was actually back on Friday, that they're going to expand production. They're looking at a new site for a factory, possibly in Germany. So, as expected, I mean, we talked about the deal middle of last year. I want to say the second and final financing agreement between the two. Now we're seeing more capacity and more manufacturing coming from VW and QS.
Look, we've loved QS for a while. I mean, I've been talking about it. And the reason why I actually loved it had nothing to really do with recent trading. It just had to do with the fact that it absolutely took off like wildfire. Once this turned over to its own symbol, QS came out, and then just has been rocking and rolling for a good month or so, like just straight up. Touches 125. Who cares about all that? But it has the potential to go. And then all of a sudden, we were buying it right here. This is generally where I like to buy stock. Where consolidation points, especially off a recent dip. You can talk about lots of stock that's like this, and then very much like a lot of names as well. We took out these levels. But the thing was, we did have a short seller report from someone called Scorpion. I don't know if they've been bit by a scorpion. I haven't heard from them since. But they did crash the stock, man, and they did a good job of it from 42 down to 30. And again, QuantumScape has had no problems. Their CEO seems to be pretty honest every time I see him on other channels and through my research. So they're not claiming to be profitable for at least 3 or 4 years. So QuantumScape here, nice little rebound on Thursday, Friday. We did have earnings. The earnings weren't that bad. You never retested the bottom here of 23. So I think you still have a little bit of a a bottom there at 23. I wrote down today 28 on the sticky note. I'll put that link up again. So we're right there right now, and it looks like we want to test it. So we wrote that note, again, 7:30 or so, 8 o'clock when we were around, 27, 28. 28's not super sensitive level. It's just the tops on Friday there. So we'll see now if it can hold 28. I think now that we're above it, I think we can come back to 27. Again, the news at this point isn't horrible. Volkswagen hasn't pulled out. They're still there. We'll see what happens with the performance. And I don't know, is there going to be competition coming in this space? Probably. I think QS, the story remains that it's going to be probably one of those buyout situations at some point. I'm hoping, anyways, that Volkswagen says enough is enough, and they maybe take them down, especially at this valuation. This $30 level looks pretty spicy to me as well. 30 to 31, I think that's probably as far as it goes today. If we can get 31s, that's fantastic. But for right now, yeah, I'm looking at a break of 28. That's already happened. We'll check out the imbalance locator as it gets closer and closer. Actually, let's do it right now since we're on the stock, because it was on there. So now it's a buy. I don't know what it was before. I guess it was always a buy. 35,000 paired off, 136. There we go. Like I said, guys, AT&T still growing. I don't know, Neil, I don't know if you trade this name on Friday, but it had a beautiful move all the way back up, basically 26, 25 bottom up to 28. So we'll watch QS today, and I'm going to be a bull on it, but we'll wait to see what the NASDAQ wants.
I will say this much. I don't want to short it today, which is a weird thing to say. We didn't trade QuantumScape on Friday, but it was impossible not to see that move. And it's that move to the downside which makes me think about that long, because you look at this 25 bottom, which a couple of times last week going into Friday morning, you had that support, and then it just fell off a cliff on just monstrous volume. Like, you can't see my volume indicator because of the position board, but you can see the spike right off the open there to the downside, getting to that 25 even. And then that strong recovery. It is hard not to look at what was a double bottom and then a triple bottom on something like this 15-minute chart. And then not think about that recovery being positive. You get a decent piece of news potentially, and then maybe coming through and gapping to the upside. Not so much of a gap. It's only 3%. I'm sort of with you. I would have liked it if we were looking at a pre-market high break in the session. I think you're looking at a 28.50 now. I had written down 26.80. It's a weird price, 26.88. If only because it was the afternoon, I guess, like support, like dip level. So if it ever got back down to that price, I'd anticipate buying the dip. Otherwise, you're looking at a breakout here, potentially like 28.50. I don't love that price as much as others, so maybe a small amount of that is 28.50 break, but then you load into that 27 dip buy. I can't see us challenging that 25 again, although I suppose that if I see 25 breaking after a downward trend, then I'd have to at least consider the short. But when I see that wipeout like that and a strong recovery, man, it's hard not to go long. It's not as extreme as you saw in Disney, Sean, but trust me, I was shorting some of that pop in Disney. It just refused to go down again after that big sell. So QS is a more extreme version of the same thing.
Let's go to the other media stock that's moving around in the pre-market here. Viacom CBS also caught up in that Archegos mess going back a month or so ago. George Soros, we talked about this with Mark, if you joined us early this morning, saying that he actually took advantage of that giant move to the downside here. If we look at the daily chart, this is what we're referring to, obviously. He picked up a whole bunch of shares taking advantage of that. This thing was otherwise just on a rocket ship to who knows where until it got cut in more than half, guys. So Viacom also kind of fading off here, though, in the pre-market.
I was going to say, like, he's bought it, so that's good. He can't be really in the money here unless he bought it, I guess, at those lows on Thursday, Friday. I mean, we do have lows of 37.50. I mean, unless Mr. Soros picked up the exact bottom, he's still probably in trouble. So I expect him to come in and buy a little bit more. But again, I don't know. And you hit the nail on the head there, Brendan, with Neil and Mark talking about this. So I'll throw it over to Neil for a little more analysis. But there was a big deal today. So Viacom up 2.5%, plus the George Soros talk as well. So, I mean, we know media has been hot for a while. We don't have to talk about streaming wars and things like that. And then the NFT game, I think, also obviously reflects some media there as well. We'll talk about Playboy coming up soon. So I think there's lots of opportunities with everything that these properties own and what they stand for. So look, I mean, they still pay a dividend, right? And I just think it's pretty solid. It's pretty safe. I think this is probably something you can buy. And the best part, this is the thing. It's like what I did on QS, right? We go long 30 or 41s there after earnings. That report comes out. We can get out 38. And we did that live on the show in the pre-market as we talked about that, right? So there you go. So that's just another situation where if you go long now on Viacom, I think you have a bottom that you can relate to. 37. I mean, the bottom's 37.50. That was in all of this Archegos, bumbling, I guess, all the way down to 37.50. If you want to hold it a bit more, you do have December lows of 35. So I don't think you're in too much trouble if you buy it at 40. So if you have 10% worth of wiggle room in your portfolio, I think Viacom probably worth it. And then we get back to maybe 50. And if everything works out well and they catch a bid or they catch a deal, then you can get it to 60 or 70. So I like Viacom, and I'm talking myself into buying some, although I already said I want to cut down my names and go more into Google, but ViaC looks pretty tempting right here.
It's one of those weird things where you're like, after the Disney, it's not Disney debacle. I mean, after Disney's disappointing earnings and numbers, so people look to trim that. It's like, where do they go? Where do they maybe pivot to in the entertainment area? Now, I think you can sort of pick or choose whether you like the recent deal with Discovery or something a little bit safer. I mean, Viacom's going to make a little bit more sense today because you don't have to digest for the next couple of days the price action in Discovery. So I'm kind of with you, Sean. The only thing about the day trade here, and I'm not sure there's going to be a huge one, is you're probably going to get this slide back on, sort of like A, sell the news, B, and of course consolidation within the space creates more competition, blah, blah, blah. And that's one of the other reasons why you probably get a little bit of a pullback. I think there's a trade in here if it gets down to this 38. Maybe not waiting for 37, but if Viacom were to sell off all the way into negative territory on the session and you're starting to defend what were some higher lows in last week's action, I think that would put you in day trade territory. I don't love a breakout, not when you slid off here so much. I mean, certainly there would have been a chance through 41, but that's pretty much come and gone here now that we're like $1 below.
Just saw a note on Square. We can show you this $2 billion offering of senior notes on Square coming. So Square taking advantage of, it had a little bounce. Not much of a reaction here on that, but just a heads up, if you're watching Square again, they plan to offer, if we can show that there, Robbie, there we go, $2 billion in senior notes for Square. Let's go on to, Sean mentioned, PLBY Group Incorporated. Back in a higher again. We saw a move on Friday coming on a whole bunch of analysts starting coverage, initiating coverage on this stock, mostly with buy ratings, increasing price targets. The latest one today, I believe it was, it was Craig Hallam, analyst, coming out today with the same initiating coverage with a buy price target of $50. So we're starting to see some, initiations and coverage of these quote unquote NFT stocks.
Yeah. Playboy makes me kind of sick to my stomach from a stock standpoint because when I brought my kid back from university and it was his March break, and I said to him, you know what, we got to probably buy some Playboy because of all this NFT stuff. Could you imagine, the Marilyn Monroe, I almost said Marilyn Manson, oh God, the Marilyn Monroe and some of those other things that Playboy really has iconic photos of, right? Whether or not you believe or whatever, who cares? Playboy's not that controversial, I don't think. But Hugh Hefner stuff, things like that. And that was, down here, guys, 12, 13, 14. And then when I just picked him up and he brought him back home for a week, and now he's doing the summer, like the kid's crazy. He asked me, did I buy any? I almost, I don't want to say I almost slapped him. I don't want to get any. He's 19 years old. Up here, $50. But anyways, Playboy continuing to go upside. And it looks like another good story here today. We'll see where they want to go, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit overdone, some of this NFT stuff to the upside. And again, Playboy, a recent turnover, so they're just becoming public. So I think they got to figure out its price valuations. But just like, you guys remember Dolphin, DLP, and there. We have YVR, which Liquid Media has also been doing really great things in this space. But not that I'm worried that this is going to be Playboy all the way up here and then all the way back down. It's just be very, very careful with some of these. I think you can play momentum today if we go into a 1 minute range here, 52, 51, 50. It's not even on my sticky note today. I wasn't super excited. You could see the spread here, 50 cents. Base is down at 42, but there's that 52 break. So 53, it's actually a 53 break. So if we can break out there, 54, 55, then I think you have something. But for then, I don't know. I'm going to stay back and wait on Playboy. I haven't traded it as a day trade. You guys know that. I do like the story. And I think that if you want to take a shot today, up 7%, hoping that people get caught short, hoping that there's some momentum. Look, it's at 50, right? And so you just sort of say to yourself, do we think we take out the top? If you do, that's 20%. So if you think it's a coin flip today, Playboy maybe extends itself and maybe even goes higher, then I think you're in the right spot, because I don't think we retest 40 today. If we do, that's going to be your out. So it's 20% either way. Get long now at 50. Hope it goes to 60. If not, you're out at 40. It's not a game I like to play, but I do like Playboy. And I do want to thank everybody for reminding me that we do have the Kirkland vitamins. I can't remember if I took one earlier, but I'm pretty sure these things aren't super potent. So I am going to take another one now. So we're going to hydrate, we're going to vitamin up, and we're going to get ready for 10 minutes when the show, well, when the market kicks off.
It's not going to kill you if you eat an extra one, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay, good.
Eat an extra one or ingest an extra one. If this stock, if Playboy had done more than 50,000 shares pre-market or a bigger number, I'd actually be looking at that 50, and I probably would have taken this 50 break to the downside. It's not saying it's come too far too fast, but it's been a couple of days of very strong moves off of this 38 in a row, and I just say to myself, okay, well, you have the 53 top, you have the previous couple of weeks ago, this double top at about 52 even, and then, a quick little scalp trade from 50, maybe getting you back into consolidation after market, like a 47, 47 and a half. Otherwise, if the volume was there, I'd probably put it on, but I tend to think it might sell back in. If it gets to that price, I think you can start looking for a bit of a buy the dip sort of scenario. But with only 10 minutes to go, I do want to get to it. I know it's a little bit later on the list, but there's this ridiculous, I shouldn't say ridiculous, there's this IPO that chart will kind of skewed a little bit. DBGI, and I'm an Omen position on this one. This was an relatively unsuccessful IPO that came through on Friday, opening up at 420, getting cut by a third at a 280 bottom, and then gapping up for reasons. Reasons unknown is the best I can put into it, and then falling off a cliff, getting right back to 420, because of course it does, right? So it bounces off that opening price on Friday. And it's not even cannabis related, but why not? I mean, I don't understand where these prices come from sometimes, but it's a thing, so it is what it is. I got short when it bounced and tried to make this top here at 475, then added to it on that consolidation. It's putting in some support above that 420 price. I need to break down. If it hits that, I'll get some out in front of the 20, get some out in front of the 4. But I've seen this party before. Like, even if it has a second move in it through that 75, I'm probably looking to fade it a lot higher at like a $6. And it wouldn't be crazy if it got back to that 280 or 3. It's very liable to do either that or blow this short out of the water and then maybe get up to that 6, which I'd be interested in. But there is no reason that I could find for that move, and that's reflected in how ridiculously it sold off in the pre-market after getting pumped to 650 for reasons.
Teeny tiny little IPO on Friday. Just a heads up on that. The float is under 10 million, so very, very small. Steve G, I see your question there regarding Square. Typically, when there's an offering, the dilution of shares is going to devalue, but I mean, this is a huge stock, obviously, at a huge level as well. There was a little bit of a delayed reaction there, but you can kind of gauge sentiment based off of how big of a reaction there is in the stock when news of that nature comes out. So there was a little delayed reaction there on Square, but this is nothing. I mean, 2.8%. As we said, there's huge. That 200 level is monster. So we'll see what happens with Square. Let's talk about Palantir. We're getting on in time here. Sean, what do we do with Palantir? There's no real significant news on this today, but coming off that big, impressive run on Friday, does it go again?
Yeah. So does it go again? I think it's a good question. You know what? Like Friday, we had that crazy rally in the market, right? And the only thing I can tell you guys is finally, because finally we'll go Superman with Palantir, because I believe that now we can finally start to maybe pick up some calls, maybe start getting into some Palantir, because it actually followed the market. And I think that that's a big, big point here. There's so many days that we've been sitting here trading Palantir where the NASDAQ has gone up, and Palantir continues to crack through levels, right? It was such a bad ride here, not just for the NASDAQ, but also there was many days in here where Palantir just couldn't get going. And, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like almost almost 10 or 11 straight red days in a row there as well right here. So if my math is correct, maybe it's 10, and maybe that's 6. So the point is now I think we're starting to follow the market a little bit better here. This huge candle up was off earnings, so they liked they hated the earnings and they loved the earnings. Then we fall back down to that 1850 level where it was scoop, scoop, scoop time. So we started barbecuing up some more shares down here at 1850. I did buy more Palantir. You guys, I mean, I talked about that on the show. So now my average price is in the 16s. So we'll wait to see where Palantir goes from here. But we do like Palantir. I'm buying more. And I do like the fact, Brendan, that on up days now, it wants to go up. So if that's enough for me, then I think we'll just wait. We'll see what the NASDAQ does here. I just wrote down on here, we'll try to hold it right in the middle there. We'll hold it. I put a couple stars. We'll see if we can hold 1950. So again, just going back to Friday's levels, this is a 20-minute chart. We can go back a little bit. We talked about this earlier on. 1950 was right here. On Friday, it broke it. Didn't even think twice about coming back to it. We held up high at 20. We bounced off a couple days at 1950. This is 1950 all the way back to May 6th. So let's see if 1950 holds. If it doesn't, I want to get out. I don't want to average in. It'll be a small hit. This is not going to be a heavy spot. Well, maybe it will be, but then we're going to get out at 1950. So hopefully, like the most we'll lose 20 pennies if we get in right now. But anyways, back down to 1850. This is the level that I really want to be concerned with. If we can test 1850, I'm going to be loaded up. It'll be do or die for me down here at 1850 if we get there. And I already put an order in to break Friday's high of 2020. So if we can break through, it's actually at 20 and a quarter. We'll see about breaking through at 20 and a quarter. So let's just test some Palantir longs. We have 1950 to the backside. And I see in our daily note, we talk about Bitcoin. I don't think Palantir actually, I think they just sort of buzzword that Bitcoin in there on their report. I'm not sure there's any talk of them putting it on their balance sheet yet. I'm sure they'll announce when it's officially on there. So if we can pick up Palantir on the cheap because Bitcoin's going down, I think that's worth it. And hey, look, accepting Bitcoin for payment is just going to have to be one of those things. Remember, just because, and you know, Neil, as well, just because you accept Bitcoin as payment doesn't mean you can't just right away turn it into cash.
Exactly.
It's more about holding it on the balance sheet. And right now, I don't know if Palantir has any on the balance sheet.
Well, if they did, I don't think they've said it. I think the move up wasn't that. Well, okay, I don't think the move up was that. I will promise everybody this. Sean gets long at 1950 and Palantir. He won't forget that he has a 1955 long, Arun. I don't know if he's watching this, but Arun forgot it. And it was an unbelievable long. You can see by the chart there.
Yeah.
I'm more with you.
Arun.
I like defending this 19 area. And I only say 19 because I think that's where I'd try to start the position off of those lows where it was bought up. So if it dips that far, I like it. I had the 20 long, which only gave you like 20 cents because that 20.25 had some selling in it at the top. So I'd watch out for that potential break in the afternoon.
All right, guys, one more to go here. There's a couple on the list, but I'll show you this one. MindMed, if you missed it, up this morning on that news that the FDA has given them a date to review and a meeting date for their Project Lucy work that they have been doing over the past couple of months. A couple things to be aware of here. 380 is a little bit of a congestion zone on the daily chart. We've already tested that, and then above that, it's 410, 420. So this is 380. It kind of rejected that, and then 410. 420 is kind of where that pink line is. So room to go, 340 support, it looks like, for MindMed. So it looks like room to go to the upside here for MNMD, guys.
So it's the only position I'm in right now. So we'll see. Whoops, I just missed that one. Tell me if I push back, it works. Yes. This is kind of our MindMed graphic because we don't really understand where our mentality is when we're walking on water or whatever that is right now. Some psychedelic stuff there. But yeah, so I came in here. We had MindMed. We were happy with it. We tweeted this out. We were in the money about 20 pennies. That's fine. We didn't take it. It's a light position. We're building positions now in the pre-market. Then it allows us to take some more down here at 360. So our average price now 361. So we're flat on the trade. 355 there. I'm exactly, let me just double check. Yeah, so I went a little lower than that. I went down here in the 320s to get out of a stop order, but I think you're right with 340 if you're going to be super conservative. I like that level as an out. I just think that, look, new technology, it's a new space. I don't know, will people put money to work here? I'm not sure. I'm going to bet yes. just because we do have a base here at 340, even on the daily chart. So let's see if MyMed goes. And I wrote down 425 in the tweet, and that's just because right here we did have some, a little bit of consolidation, and it's kind of that wicked down bottom right there is 425. So let's see if we can't get back up there. I don't have any offers out for now. We'll wait to see how high MyMed goes, but I think it's just sort of one of those stocks today that's going to be a flyer for me. Like, we'll hold it. We'll see if Wall Street Bets gets a hold of this thing. If it does, then we'll ring the Reggie, and we'll hope that we can have some diamond hands with MyMed. I don't even want to look at this name. I'm not heavily into this. Let's wait to see where MyMed goes from here. I'll average in back to the downside again in the 50s, but we're going to let it go in the 20s if it goes back down.
Yeah, you said one thing in there, which is the reason why I'm not looking at any kind of a short unless it pops real big, and that's that Wall Street Bets. Quickly, with only 30 seconds to go, Clover reported they beat on revenue, but the EPS was basically in line. So I mean, the guidance was solid, but this actually got sold off heavily after gapping up about a full $1, guys. I'm looking at this level. Look at this 760 right here. It actually, 762, 763. It's been 4 times it's tested it. If it breaks it off the open, I'll try a quick long. I'd normally be thinking about fading it, so I would come back into the idea that you could short it if it breaks back below that 750 area. But first things first will be that fade. And I just got QuantumScape. It just broke 2850. As the market is open, let's go, Ms. V. That was fast.
Let's go. Okay, we're watching some Neo here as well. Thank you. Was that Ms. V? I missed it. Yeah, well, thank you, Ms. V, for that bell. Neo looking at 34. We'll see if it wants to take that out. I'm looking to get longer in the 32s if we can come downside. I don't think it's open. Yeah, it's open. So MyMed right now, 33, 34. The reason why we don't know if it's open or not is because we're waiting for New York to open up, and it looks like they have. So we still have a top here, 33.67. I'm not in anything else, just MyMed for now.
Yeah, that DGBI just started a bit of a rollover puke. I had these bids out there already, so it tests at 420, it tests at 4 even. If it bounces back up, I'm reloading at 450 if I can get it. That was an ugly trigger on QuantScape, and if it breaks 28, I'm not going to hold it. We like the dip buy on QS, but you never want to fill in the way that I got it right there off of the open and then miss the chance to get out. So I wasn't quick enough on the keys. It snapped up to 29. That should have been an easy scalp, but I'm not going to compound the mistake by either averaging into prices I don't love or just sort of sitting there holding it. I would have liked that trade maybe a few seconds after that open where I could have had the quick hands to be able to get out of that trade very, very fast. Didn't get triggered into Clover, by the way. So, Clover Health, as it looks like it's still holding that 760 area. So a few times it tested it on the way back up. For now, looking rather weak below it.
Okay, yeah, we're still looking at Clover Health. I just got triggered into a Coinbase short as well. So now let's see where Coinbase goes from here. Coinbase 245, we're short now 247. We talked about this one, so here goes Coinbase to the downside. We're watching it and seeing where it goes, Neil. Coinbase right now to the downside. Do you have this one?
I'm short 46.75. This is a case where you're in the money a couple of dollars, but are you happy that Coinbase is going down? If only because, I'm not even on the chart. I apologize, guys. If only because we are looking for places for this thing to settle down. I think both of us are. It's not there yet. We knew there was going to be downside action today based on the charts. Now we're looking at 240. I mean, maybe it bounces off an even dollar and I'll just take like 5 or 6. Usually $5 or $6 makes sense and it makes another move, but I'm on the short side if we're below that 250, unfortunately.
Okay, guys, here we go. Coinbase right now, 246. Wow, that just touched 242, guys. We got to get something out there. We don't have Palantir on the ups on the swing either, so we should have had that. We waited a little bit too greedy there on Palantir and missed it. So we're gonna have to wait now on that one. Damn it, we waited for. What? I thought I did have some lower bids. I guess that didn't trigger really, but 61s is our bid. It goes as low as 64 there. So we're watching Palantir, and then I think right now, Coinbase, that bottom of 242. Let's put a bid somewhere right now and just cash some of this out, guys. That's Coinbase right now. Let's get a little bit out on this low. What's up, B?
All right, quick headline on Airbnb. Another one flushing here, down a few dollars already for ABNB. Lockup expiration today, guys, for ABNB, getting sold off pretty hard.
Yeah, that's normally a trigger there for us.
Yeah, I don't know. I banged the table a little bit. Look, I'm not terribly mad at it. I prefer DoorDash as a bit of a trade there, but the rollover in Airbnb is actually good, mostly because of that 142, 143. If this thing tests at any point 130, that could be a lot of trouble. So look at that midway point. Maybe a 135 bounce gets you a short, maybe in that 136, 37 on kind of a rebound action. That's what I'm going to go with here. I don't want to chase the move out of frustration. Well, it wouldn't be out of frustration. I just don't want to chase the move. I think that would be a little bit dangerous. There is one other stock I'm in. I think I mentioned ARPO here. Small cap, post earnings, gap up. falls back to the downside and then retests the level a couple of times, this 140 area. The 141 was a decent level on the charts, but twice I was able to short. The first time, fantastic, 140s, down into 128. Second time we get it, I don't like averaging in off the open, but it just failed through 150. And this is usually, if it wasn't for Coinbase, which is the winning trade, I'd be getting back in that mid 140 range. I did not because I was busy with something else, but off of 150s, I'm going to short this one in that mid 140 range. If it breaks 50 again, I'm out. I can't find a long just yet. We only got the shorts on, Coinbase working, and of course DBGI as well. Brendan?
All right, early volume in this one again. AMC just popping up here, guys. 8% already, coming up to this 1430, 1440, I should say, area. It had trouble with on Friday, guys, for AMC.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try this here, breaking through 14. Just try it one more time and see where we go on AMC. I tried to short Ethereum there and just got blown up on that one. Look at this, 1380. I couldn't get out. That's almost $1 hit there on ETHE. So down 13% if you want to look at ETHE. It's rocking right now. But there it is right there. The bears come in, and we're going to go bang, bang on Coinbase there with a nice little $4 win. Or what do we get out? Do we get out 60? Yeah, 462.30. So a nice $4 there. 247 down to 242.50. So a nice $4 win there. And now we're trying it. Holy shoot. Palantir ripping as well. Right now, AMC to the upside. We're long right now 13.99. So let's see if AMC wants to go. And I'm really pissed off because there goes Palantir. We're getting ready to go long at its day high. But I did have a 1961 bid. Guys, it went down to 63, so we missed it by a little bit. We'll learn on that one, guys. MyMed's still doing nothing.
Watch out for this Airbnb heading back to the upside. And also watch out for DBGI, which was sliding in the money for us. We were able to get some out, and then it just halted to the upside. So I got to watch that one very, very closely. Probably 5 minutes when it opens back up. That's going to be a hit, almost 100% sure for me. So we scalp some for a nice little winning trade, and we're going to take a hit on the second bid. No bounce yet in Airbnb. I wanted a bounce from 135, which happened. I thought that could get us into the pre-market low, 136.50-ish. It seems like someone is selling this, I'm not selling it off, but a bit of an iceberg right here at that 136 level and some dark pool prints. Can't get it past this range, so I'm going to have to start this short a little earlier than anticipated. Brendo?
All right, another group that was pretty strong on Friday, if you remember, the cruise lines, guys. Big move on Friday for CCL here. Pretty volatile to start, up and down. Initially strong, but they're talking about some reopening plans or further reopening plans both in Europe and the Caribbean coming up this summer for CCL, guys.
All right, 1380. I'm just looking at AMC here because we got to figure out where to get out. I'm going to put a 1379 or so trade out to get out on this trade. So we just put a 1379 trailing offer to get out. That's, again, risk management. We're here to do that. And so here it comes right to the downside. We tried it, man. We got a little bit out at 04, 05 there for 4 pennies, 5 pennies. But, we want more there. It's just we got to watch out. It's going to crack down, back down through VWAP. And again, we've seen the moves that AMC can make. This thing traveled to, there it goes. We're going to be out now. That thing traveled to, there you go. We'll flush ourselves in the toilet. Worth the try. No real big hits on that one. But we'll watch AMC now to the downside. Like, that's the thing. You see what AMC just did there, and then you're seeing Coinbase right now, $6 now in the money. What up, Miss V? Yo. So now Coinbase tanking, man, 240. We still got this trade on. We took out half right there, 2/3 right there. So now we're going to watch Coinbase go to the downside. Coinbase and MindMed, the only stocks we have right now. Missed that Palantir, and that's really what my biggest regret here is the PLTR, guys.
And of course, I just barely missed this Airbnb short. It is what it is. I paid for the short, so it's actually very, very cheap. I tried to catch it. It spiked into 137, which we liked. I chased it all the way down to 136.20, was unable to get into position. I just covered my Coinbase there in front of 240. 240 almost on a dime, 240 quarters has held. I got out at the 77 mark in front of the 3/4. So Coinbase, it is what it is. I still want to find a place to get into that long trade in the long term, or to add to that position anyways. But for now, we're playing price momentum. It's to that downside. If 240 breaks, I don't even have any level we can look at that's going to be obvious. Airbnb just ticked in, so add that to the short list as well. I was going to be taking Clover, and I talked about this, and it would have been, and there it is. Clover actually I missed this trade. I don't know why I didn't get that. Let's see why my stop didn't trigger. That 760 level, 761, 762 on Clover Health. Post earnings, slid down $1 pre-market, but finally made that breakout at that level, at that 760. I'll see if I can't get back into it a second time here.
Yeah, I just have a 244 out there on, oops, that's still Palantir. Oh, we just got long into Palantir. I have a 244 out there on Coinbase. That's basically right where this VWAP is. Let's just see how much we're going to ride it down. I mean, you know, I love that 240 out. Getting out on these dips has been great. Great trade there. We'll see if 240 can hold again. As VWAP comes down, man, we'll just keep on, you know, we'll keep on adjusting our stops. Is that the right word? Yes, I believe it is. Okay, Palantir, a light top break there. We're not going crazy heavy when we break out, you know, out of this early in the morning. So we're going to wait on that. We do know that Palantir can come back, but now I'm pretty confident here that it wants to run. As I said, look at the NASDAQ, monster move up. Look at Palantir, monster move up. It doesn't even go down on a NASDAQ move down. This was the rhetoric that I started the show with, that yeah, now I'm a little more confident in Palantir just because of the fact that it wants to go up when the NASDAQ actually goes up. So now I'm readjusting. I'm going to fix all these orders now, get out. I'm not even looking at 1950 anymore. Now I'm going to stare $20 in the face. So I think we can start building some longs into 20, right? Once we get around 20, we'll start to build. We're going to start to build now because we've got to average in. But if the NASDAQ wants to go, we know Palantir can go. We just took a small position there. Let's hold this back to 20 and then reevaluate if it comes back into 20 again. So get some more longs here and we'll reevaluate. Neo, I don't think you've been on this one yet. I've been waiting. Oh my God, where's my bid on this one? 32.66. It only goes down as far as 80. We're trying to get long into this area here. So next time, let's put our orders a little bit higher. We'll wait to see if it goes upside. We may get stopped out of Coinbase back up to 243 right now.
And speaking of 37s, and we talked a little bit about this, guys, Discovery. I thought I'd defend that 37 if it got there. I didn't actually expect this thing to die like an absolute quail, and we're about 37.50. So if we go any further, I'll look to put a defense at about 37 even. That's about all I can do here and wait for it to consolidate. So it's still up 6%. We wanted it to settle down. This has absolutely not done so yet. So crazy action happening. DBGI actually opens up at like 480, so it doesn't even move that far. It doesn't get through that $5 range. Could be a bit of a short, but I'm going to get my bids ready and locked and loaded in Discovery. If it falls any further, it's going to be a bit of a buy for me. I missed my shot to get in and out, to get out of, come on, Airbnb. This is me bidding down here. I'll zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. I finally caught the short on the way back the second time, 36.25. It gets down to 35.50. I'm trying to bid out for 75 pennies. It bounces right back to that upside. If we can roll over off the same 136.50, 136.60 area, fair enough. We'll be able to get maybe get some more shares into this and then try to take maybe 50 or 60 cents instead of 75. But for now, I'm going to play the short side. Anytime you got the lockup expiration, I'm going to pick on the short side of the trade until proven otherwise.
All right, we're just averaging in as we said we would here on PLTR. So we just took some more bids there. They're not huge. I do want to put a bigger bid on if we get lower here. So let's wait to see how far Palantir goes to the downside. Our average price right now, 25 and change on 25 quarters or so. You want to check out DraftKings? Let's check out some Square as well here. We did have that offering early. It doesn't look like it wants to. Wow, yeah, does it not want to move at all? Brendan already highlighted that 200 level. That was pretty cash money off that release there. I guess they offered it around here.
Oh my God,
205 down to 201. It looks like we ticked 199 now. So watch out. Look at this. See, now the NASDAQ's coming down, right? And so now we're going to switch over to Palantir. We're not like we're long at 22s here. We're not even worried. We just took a little bit of a 14 bid, but I'm worried a little bit if this NASDAQ doesn't hold. This may give us a good opportunity now to load up a little bit more down here. So let's just do exactly that.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get this into like 7s or 8s here, just ahead of VWAP, and then put on a big trade and get a much better average price here as Coinbase still rocking and rolling to the downside on this little bit of a NASDAQ move back down. What's up, Brendo?
It was a monster on Friday. I was just checking. Macy's is what I'm speaking of, guys. Tomorrow, we get earnings for this one. M up another better part of 5% here, coming up to 19 even, straight to the upside from Macy's again.
Yeah, I mean, that stock is absolutely nuts. It's 14 and 14.20 once again on AMC, and you guys who are watching the show. We'll try to be a little bit more, try not to eat through this trade. 14 is a lower high. It's failed once again on a 14.25. Let's show you guys here. It's failed once again on a 14 to 14.25 breakout. This is now 3 sessions in a row. You've seen what happens each time. Eventually, you're going to get a breakout. I mean, well, eventually if it tests this level and it keeps going, you're going to get a breakout. I shouldn't say it has to happen today. In fact, I don't want it to because I'm short at 14. But I got to play the fade trade in here. It was worth it. It was worth it on Friday. If it gets back into what was a pre-market high, that 75 area, worth a scalp for sure into that range. So I got the short once again on AMC. We'll see how that one fares. Airbnb basically flat, but that Macy's, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. I don't know how we missed out on Macy's. We talked about it all morning long going into those earnings and how strong it was on Friday. I actually thought it was one of those overbought and had gone too far situations, and it touches 19. Now, if I thought it was overbought and too much of a move into earnings before, and it spikes into 19 now, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to short off this 19 even. It is what it is. We'll put the shares in if I can get them. And the second I put the offer in at 90, we're at 82. So I'll try to get this in front of 19, but 19 is my hard stop.
Okay, I'm reloaded. Okay, here we go. So we're loaded up right now on Palantir. Let's just see if it holds, man. That run happened. We'll see if it comes back down below, which is going to be right now 19. I think we have 1995 or so as our out, and it looks like it's going to come right through. So just letting you guys know here that we will take a hit on Palantir. We've averaged in, what's my average price now? 14. So when we get out, this will be a 20-cent hit. Worth it for sure, because 20 cents back to the upside gives us day highs. So let's see if the NASDAQ can hold just a little bit more. You know what? Maybe I'm just going to cancel this and just go one set lower here, just to make sure we don't get wicked out too bad. I mean, this will be even worse if we get wicked out now. But, I won't be too mad at least. There it goes. We'll give it back down to 80s or so on Palantir. But right now, giving it to the upside. If the NASDAQ can go, then I think we have Palantir here. But there's other names, so we're not going to be married to this one for sure. Today, there's CCL moving a little bit off of some news there. Plug Power moving. Your ARPO. Oh, we talked about...
Sorry, I want to hit the flush if I can here, guys, because AMC just broke through up very, very briefly down to that 1380, so just in front of that 1375. This is exactly similar to what happened on Friday's action, where it just kept testing the top end of the range. It's patience. I'm not going to short 1390. Once I've shorted 14s, the next one will probably be closer to 1415 or 1420. It got as high as 33 on Friday, so I want to give myself some room while holding on to a position to be able to catch some better prices if I can. I'm kicking myself over. I'm like 99% sure I could just be getting old. This is entirely possible. I swear I put in my stop. This is probably on me. I swear I put in that 763 stop buy on Clover. Clearly I didn't. It's broken, retested to the downside, and it continues to run here. They're up 3.5%, but it sold off $1 in the pre-market. It was as high as 830 on light volume before selling off $1, and it's trying to head back northbound post earnings. Brendo?
There's a little bit of merger activity, or acquisition, I should say, from Nikola last week. Some minor companies being bought up or doing deals with Nikola, but up again here today, guys. Almost 7%, just testing $13 here, straight to the upside as well. On decent volume. There's no headlines this morning that I can see for Nikola, but a nice look here.
Okay, I'm just going to avert my eyes, man.
Nikola, I think.
Don't show me Nikola going up, man. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, what about Fisker? Fisker, I think, reports today or tomorrow. Fisker coming up soon, so we can watch them as well. 1060. Come on, MindMed. You can do it, MindMed. There it is, AMC. Okay, we went long again, man. Let's see if we get snake bitten twice on this name, AMC. We're long now at that high of the day. We got long here, out. I mean, that's a 10-cent hit. That was nothing. Well, actually, 20 cents hit, still nothing. We'll wait to see if it can take out the top. We take it one more time. I don't know, man. I mean, this just keeps on breaking. I just have these hopes that, yeah, we're going to rip. And I don't know. I mean, Neil, you talked about this on Friday. We'll just see where AMC goes now to the high side. I mean, if we zoom back out, we do have some levels right here. Like, this is what I'm trying to get at. And it's not a huge move. So if we can go long at 1410 and then get out upside, then we will. But there's not that much upside to hold this all the way back down. So there goes AMC again. VWAP is right here. So I guess we're going to have to get out again. I don't want to hold this name all the way as Palantir is starting to go finally. So let's not lose what we make on Palantir here on AMC. Let's give it back to that level again, guys. 1380. Maybe even that very bottom here. 13. I don't want to give it to the bottom, though. Oh, we're so close. I don't know. I'm long AMC. I need to do some work on this one.
I'm kicking myself.
Haven't been very good on it.
I'm kicking myself over QuantumScape. It is sometimes about how you get the fill, and I know my better judgment told me that I shouldn't have had that stop order in off of the open or in 930. If you wait for it, I certainly could have taken that trigger at about, it looks like you would have gotten it at 935. It doesn't go any further than 9/4. There's the move through 29 even. If it lets me buy a dip to 28.50, I'll go ahead and do that. I should be celebrating Airbnb and ARPO moving well to the downside, but forget about that. It was a missed opportunity in QuantumScape. We both like the long, I think, there, and it's on the move to the upside. Miss V's at the big screen. What do you got?
Hey Neil, some traders talk about XL Fleet. Company reports earnings today after market and also moving to the upside. Do you see any opportunities for yourself in XL?
Well, it's not Fisker, so no, Fisker. No,
True.
No, I probably shouldn't say that. I mean, I think a lot. I mean, Nikola's moving, Fisker's moving, XL Fleet all moving going into earnings. But put something into perspective. It's basically moved like 20 cents, not 20%. That would be crazy. But you look at some of these highs where it's been basically rejecting and making lower highs since about this pivot, like a 660 area. I think that's what you'd be looking for. If it gets to 660, it's like a fade and break kind of idea for me, and that is about 10%. Well, it is 10% from Friday's close. Until it gets to that range, it's not too interesting. If you're picking it up there, giving it down to like a 580 or so with a relatively tight stop on a long into that trade, fair enough. I think there's probably sexier names that are moving. Nikola is one of them. And we talked about Fisker, which had some news as well going into earnings. So yeah, sure, it's on the radar. I probably wouldn't look at it till it gets to 660 for a fade trade. I think some other traders would be along that same lines because it's only up 3%. To update some trades, as I was sitting there complaining about not being in Clover, I will point to the bear of Airbnb, as we got the breakdown. Well, not really the breakdown. On the 15-minute, it looks like it, but it's really just retesting that same level that you get from like Friday's action here, the bottom, like this 136.75. I was able to take some out there for what should have been a 75-cent scalp, and then the second time through, we only get about 60. And now I want to see if we can't get down to this like 133 area for about like a $3 win. This is about the lockup expiration, guys. We sort of play the short side of the trade there when it shows its hand that it wants to move momentum down. So we'll celebrate this one flushing itself down the toilet. And I said ARPO was going as well. I shouldn't show you guys 15-minute charts for penny stocks. It popped up to that 150. We never average in at 9:30 when it makes those moves. It retests that level. We do get it at 45, 46. It's right back into the 130s. I still have bids left over in the 120 range, so that can be a nice little winner for us. Well, a nice big winner for us, I suppose. And from there, back over to AMC, which I think we're in opposite directions of Sean. And it can work as long as they have decent prices. But I can tell you that this was a tricky trade off that 140. I just said I would let it get to 1420. I would let it get back up towards that high before trying to short it. If you want it on the way down, it's easy to miss. That's exactly what happened. I didn't get shares there at 1408, so I still have the originals from 14 even. As it's now consolidating off of VWAP, I should cancel this order because as it bounces off VWAP, more likely that it gets to the absolute high. 1421 and 1433 was where it failed on Friday. So probably some room before it breaks out at the top as well.
Yeah. I've been taking a little bit. So I'm on AMD right now. We'll wait to see just a small tester. We're going to give it back to this 74.50 level here on AMD. We'll see if it goes. Okay, so we just average in, AMC coming to the downside right now. We just picked up an 83 there. So now our average price is 02s. So let's take out a little bit here if we can in the mid 90s and get a little bit of this money back here off that bid. So we're still high on this stock. So we'll wait to see where it comes in. And another name that we've just been having to get out of was Palantir. You could see just as much as we got in, we got out on the back, and some of our best outs there, 17s. So Palantir looking to fade back in. Look at the NASDAQ now getting hit, right? So there it is, taking some out on the way up. Obviously, if the market rips, this is not Friday. Like like we mentioned, if I take these trades on Friday, we probably don't have too much to worry about, but this is a different day. So we look at that as we do. So we'll wait to see now what the NASDAQ wants to do here and Palantir. Almost getting out, man. If we can get into the 80s, we're going to get out. I just don't want this thing to test back lower. Look at the NASDAQ now. Fade, getting crushed right here. So we actually got out of our Coinbase, which was look, are you going to find a worse out there? It just goes to VWAP and then comes right back down. So there's Coinbase out at 243.40 or so. And then now it's back down to 240. So we should still have that, but that's okay. Still good wins here on Coinbase. But yeah, should still have that. No diamond hands available there on Coinbase. And then there goes Palantir as well. We will go arrows down. It's okay. We didn't wind up getting too hit on this name here, but a big, decent shot taken, and now the downside as Palantir continues to fall. Now we wait for that 1950 level that we talked about, start to average in a little bit against this 1975. We'll wait for it, but look at the NASDAQ move downside here. Not a good one for anything long in big cap tech land, guys. So we'll wait. I'm long AMC, AMD, Palantir, and MyMed. Not good with the market heading to the south side. What's up, Beep?
Just checking out Virgin Galactic here. Looks like some rumors floating around today, guys, that they're next test flight is quote unquote imminent, whatever that means. So take it for what you will. Up a little bit on volume here for space, guys.
I mean, with all the delays they've had, they're gonna have to do better than imminent for me. I mean, I just want to hear an announcement come through. I feel like patience is the way you play something like that. So I'm not going to be looking to get in today, but I am looking for a spot. Oh my goodness, gates of hell, Airbnb. So we talked about, and I'll probably show my Coinbase as well, Sean, in a quick second, but 133 on Airbnb. We did get that rollover for 136. The $3 winner should be pretty good, but I kind of feel like this might have a little bit lower to go. Now, obviously, you can come in on the 15-minute and then see the bottom from Friday at that 131.60, and I definitely showed you I wanted to be out in front of it, so that's what we did. And then, I'm sort of with you on Coinbase, Sean. There was an opportunity to get back in at VWAP, and I certainly missed it. Now we've broken through the low. I'm not going to chase down here. I'm still looking for a consolidation bottom that maybe we can take advantage of, but the shorts have definitely come in. I got that small cap ARPO. I'm going to call it ARPO from now on because it's easier. But AMC lacking some movement here. There we go. Still hanging around VWAP, but it does feel like it might get that flush in. If it breaks down to like a 1370, like snaps down to like a 1365 to 1370, I'd probably take the trade off. Now, otherwise, it's still trying to bounce off VWAP rather nicely for the bulls, I would say. Clover, which I never got the long in, is now broken. It got almost to $8, is now broken right back to that 760, which was the level in the pre-market. If it holds below that price, I guess they might be selling on these earnings. I don't want to chase that one too far as well. And then, of course, QuantumScape is the one that got away. Oh, that's in New York. QuantumScape is the one that has gotten away. But with the market turning red, what darn you, we're back below VWAP. If it can hold, what was it? It's not really a double bottom, but right before the open, we're at 27.80. On the dip, I took off at 28. I went all the way down to 27.80. I guess I could have lost an extra 20 cents and not felt better about myself. If we get down to that price, I'll try a quick little defense of 27.80, if only because that opening range flush out bottom. Sometimes I like it. We'll see what happens. The market slid down here. The ES is down 0.5%, but it's kind of holding these pre-market lows. So there's a chance at a bounce. And I just got that Discovery. I said it defend 37. This is it. So we just got a new long position that's in Discovery, 37.25.
Okay, yeah, with the market still fading back in, man. I mean, look at this, 1350. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a bounce here. We're testing some so new position alert. We'll hit the siren. AMD, we just talked about that a little bit, and we're getting close, man. That 74.25 bottom coming into play right now. So I got to get out if it cracks it. We've averaged it a little bit here. We're out 30 pennies on this name. Oh, man. Let's see. Will the NASDAQ go? We saw AMD again. Oh, man, I took the wrong day off. If we just, we could get a move back upside in the NASDAQ, then all good. But right now, you're down that 0.71%, man. It doesn't look like it's too healthy right here. But we're long everything, so we'll wait to see. We did get some more Palantir at the bottom. So right now, you're seeing our average price 92. Yeah, we'll take out a piece here, but we got to get a lot higher. Oops, that's not the daily. Oh, that is the daily chart. Here we go. Put it over. Another piece long there into this 70s, but we're still waiting for 50s. So we can't celebrate anything on Palantir. If this goes back up to day's high, then we'll be much better off. But until then, we need it to come back, man. We did take a bath on that name. AMD's coming back to life a little bit. It did get into the 70s there. Our average price 68, so a lot of work still to be done, especially if the NASDAQ wants to go. Then I love this AMD trade back to day's high, but it's got to get there. Obviously, we dropped Coinbase too early. And then I'm battling with AMC as well right now. So we'll wait to see. It just keeps on bouncing down here. I think it probably at this point, I don't know why it hasn't gone yet. It's going to take out the lows, and then that's where we'll get out. So we're waiting on AMC right now, and I just got a bunch of longs, man. MindMed, I said this was going to be the YOLO moment, and it looks like it's YOLOing down. So we're going to be out of this one soon. MindMed, it doesn't look like it had the juice. It did have it early. Now you're only up 5%. Just wanted to see if they liked it to the long side, and apparently they don't. So there's MindMed right now, just chilling out. AMC back almost flat here, ripping up. We're long at 98.
Yeah, this Discovery, it looks like it is battling at that 37, so we might have picked a decent spot. Now, I was able to get more shares in when we just bounced off 37.06, but that was on the way up, so my price is going to be 19s. I look at the first move down, stalling at 37.46, so call it like 37.50. Definitely want to take some shares out in front of that, just in case this move isn't done. I mean, the selling of this news has gotten a little, I don't want to say out of hand, but I mean, this is now from 43 post-halt down to 37. That is some extreme sell action. There were a couple of other names that caught up in that mess that weren't related to the deal. Tencent Music all the way back down. Soros buying this one as well, all the way to the low. So I'm glad I didn't dig into the long off that Soros buying across the board, because 10 cents basically given everything back. I just got, so I'll flush myself down the toilet and the position. I finally get a long. It's in discovery, and I'm like, it's starting to bounce off of that level. Looks like it's about to go, then it flushes through 37, and then immediately retraces. So I kind of feel like this is one of those stop, kneel out, and then make the move to the upside. But the way the market was going, I don't know that I love digging right back into that long trade, so I'm going to stay away from discovery. It has to consolidate down here to give me a little bit more confidence to go back in. Don't want to throw away the profits that we have, but have to watch out for, remember, AMC. Do not want to be averaging in at 14. I know that's where I still have some shares here. It has to come back up, retest that high, and I got to get a better price if you're going to get me to go into this one a little bit more. Coinbase, I'd like to be the next trade if I can. I mean, it did flush. Look, it flush bottom to like 238.50, and it's trying to hold 240. In any other sort of market environment, if it was a little bit stronger, if we're pushing green side or Greensville, I'd probably be thinking about a long through a 241 after that flush out bottom. Instead, I'm looking to short VWAP, staying on the short end of the train as long as that is going to be the momentum. I only have a couple of shorts, still looking for a long. Discovery was no good.
Okay, yeah, my earpiece is dead. I don't know if you guys are disconnected. I don't know if you guys could check that, the Wi-Fi. There it is, back connected. It's all good now. Okay, AMD, wow. Okay, well, I was just going to say, saving some money on AMD, and then the flush happened. So we got something out there on VWAP. It looked like it was trying to break. So we take a 30-cent hit there on AMD and get some out. I still like the long. Was that maybe the flush there on AMD? Let's try it one more time for a long here, backside, down to 29.28. I don't know, what was that, 20s there at the bottom? Okay, let's take another shot here. We'll go a little bit longer and give this one now basically to 74.15, 74.14 on the downside. I don't want to give this one too much more room. I just, I like taking some of these trades when we get blown out there and then it retraces back upside a little bit, but checking in on the futures, that's why we're not giving this one more room. We'll give this one another 20, maybe 10, 15 cents back to the downside right here, 74.10, 74.15. We'll try it there. We'll see. We're just teetering right now. Like nothing's really happening for me. Palantir, we're waiting. We took that out when it came back up to VWAP, so we're long now 91s. That's kind of doing nothing. If we get back into the teens, we're taking that out as well. AMC finally, will it go, will it not? It's just went as high as 05 a couple times. Probably worth taking a little bit out if it gets back there. But like Neil said, we're both kind of waiting to retest the highs. Yeah. So waiting for that one to come through. Discovery, Neil's been on that one. Airbnb.
I want to be sick about that trade, but like,
okay, yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. Like, I'll get to this ARPO very, very quickly. Now that's below VWAP. I have to change the plan a little bit. If we break this 130, I'll start shorting VWAP on this name. Otherwise, take profits down to 120. So that's the game plan. If I ignore some of these small cap gap ups that are just sort of sitting in the money for me, it's because they can get a little bit boring. But DoorDash, which is the other side of Airbnb, well, I mean, it's not the other side of Airbnb, but another recent IPO that had so much strength on Friday, that just flushed, but made what looks like a bit of a wipeout bottom here at 132. I'm going to test the south side of the trade. This was so strong on Friday, guys. I'm a little bit surprised to see it sell off there, and it just got back into VWAP. I like it off of 137, if only because the momentum was so obvious, I guess, to that downside. If I can catch like a 136 area short, give it $1, you're talking about like $4 to that low 132. I didn't see that one coming. Obviously, Airbnb had the lockup expiration, but DoorDash could just be some more profit taking on this particular name. And I'm back into QuantumScape, this time off that 2780 low. It's time already. It's 10 o'clock. Let's go to Brennan for happening now.
Hey guys, yeah, 10 o'clock. Let's get a look at North American markets, see how things are shaping up so far. We are in negative territory, but a little bit better off than we were initially. So something to kind of hang your hat on. Here in Toronto, the TSX 0.2%. The Russell 0.4%, 0.39 at this point for small caps. The Dow same. The S&P about 0.5% to the downside. But again today, we're seeing the NASDAQ leading. So once again, it's tech stocks. You can see better part of a full percent, the composite in the 100 in negative territory, leading as far as negativity goes. PLBY, we mentioned it in the pre-market, some NFT action getting a little coverage as far as analysts are concerned. Not much doing though. It came down to 47, which was kind of the high area from Friday and starting to bounce here a little bit, but still decent volume on PLBY. Via C, the other media company that was up in the pre-market, Give you a nice test of some pre-market areas right off the bat there. It's all the way to day lows, essentially, for Viacom. Guys, back to you.
Okay, we have a new position alert, so we'll hit the siren, guys. It's Uber. I said enough is enough with this crap. We got to go short on something, so let's find a name to pick on a little bit. Here goes Uber to the downside right now. Short off that day low. Put a bid in. We'll get some 58s, 59s. Good trading right now so far. We'll hit the slap shot on Uber, short 46.70, and now we're going to the downside. So we finally switch up our game here and go short off the NASDAQ, man. Down 1%. Hopefully it holds. We just took some out, so right now we're good to go. It looks like AMC's trying to go as well, but Uber right now, let's see if it touches this 46.50, guys.
Yeah, and I'd say just before we went to Brendan, I got that QuantumScape off of that 27.80. Now this is the opening range bottom. Also in the pre-market, it dipped down to that price before trying to make that rally, and of course that got me into the break. If it gets up to VWAP, I'll definitely scalp some out there. You got to take some profit as the market is headed in the other direction. Now, does it matter necessarily for QuantumScape? Sometimes, sometimes not, but I'll play it on the cautionary side. And if it gets to VWAP, I'm going to take some shares out there for sure. I didn't get that trade in DoorDash. We had just quickly gotten over to it when you saw that move. When you saw that move sort of back into VWAP, it rolls over. I'll probably go ahead and cancel this trade. And if it comes back into VWAP at 36, I'll try to get a little bit more aggressive the next time. But it is sliding down. I know it was hella strong. We had the longs going on Friday, but this is a totally different day where the rollover is certainly happening. I didn't see this coming. Airbnb made sense to me. DoorDash catching a little bit off guard here. I still have nothing else to do in this AMC trade. It feels like it's coiling up to just absolutely bust through that top. At some point, it has to happen. This is like the third or fourth day that it's trying to test that high. So I'm sitting in the 14 short. I don't feel like I have to do anything, and I'm not adding till it gets to like 15s or 20s. You need a really good price if you're going to go short in front of the top when this thing starts to move, because you know it can get pretty ugly. Coinbase, on the other hand, let's go fresh lows. So this is one this is one we wanted to see if it could get a bounce back into VWAP. I don't know that I want to be short at the low of the day on Coinbase. It's kind of hard to chase it. I like the two shorts I have on. I got the QuantumScape long, which is now about 20 cents in the money. I'm looking for about 25 to 40, somewhere in that range. If it slows down in front of VWAP, we'll take some profit out of that. But I'm not ready to pick a Coinbase bottom, that's for sure. Brendan?
AT&T, guys, just popping back up here. I guess it was 52-week highs that I was alerted to. $34, a bit of an area in the pre-market after the news came out. Trying to get back up to $34 for AT&T, guys.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a backflip here because finally AMC goes one way, and we were able to get out a little bit there. We put an offer right there at 12. We're still waiting for high, but the way that broke through 14 there looked pretty good. So here comes right back to 12. You can see where we're long 83s. So 30 cents now in the money on AMC. Good trade, but obviously always waiting for more to come. So AMC right now coming upside. There it is, 20s, 21s. Here we go. Let's go AMC. 27s, 28s. Good trade here. 40 cents in the money. I think, are you putting on, I guess you're just starting to put on your short ad here, Neil?
Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it.
Yep. Okay. So I'm right now, I'm just getting out. There's another 24. So we'll smash that one again. We'll go bang with the shorts, or with the long, sorry, on AMC, and just trying to get out now because we are back to those levels. We listen over there to what Neil was talking about. We have these levels here.
It just
here we
broke
go.
the top.
We're blowing them out right now, so we're at the top right now. So yes, sir, finally, some longs paying off today with AMC. Let's go AMC to the moon if we can. Try to just hold the rest of this one. We're out a decent amount, but here goes AMC, so happy with this one.
This is almost exactly what happened on Frittergate, which was breaking to the top. Now I get my short in, it breaks at 14.35. Now if it makes that immediate fail, where it doesn't really make the next level, of course that's going to be 14.50. I'm looking for it to slam right back down. If it doesn't continue through, I'm going to short this one again. This is the pattern that worked, of course, on Friday. That doesn't mean it has to today, but that's the look I'm going to go for. Macy's, by the way, getting close to that 19. I just got 18.90s in. 19 was the stop. It ran up there in the pre-market. Ran up there on the open. I look to see if I can't get that. Now here, as I'm talking about the fact that Macy's pops in, you're getting that quick reversal off the high. So I'll make the top wick. It happens every now and then. Actually, no. I'm not top wick. Somebody else is at 38. I got 36s out there. So back into AMC immediately at about those teens. So call it 19s is in price first. I'll probably take another shot at it around 25 to 30. And then if it breaks the top again, I can walk away from that trade. Macy's is a different story. Macy's is a one-shot deal in front of 19. I'm not saying it's gone too far, but into earnings, it was already so ridiculously strong. The fact that it tested another dollar to the upside and reversed off 19, have to take a shot at Macy's.
All right, so we just got some out. Yeah, I love that Macy's trade. We do know it's retail week now, so watch out for your retail stocks: Macy's, Abercrombie, Lowe's, Target, Walmart, so on and so forth. Home Depot. What's up, Brendan? Has some Home Depot. He likes that one. I like it too. But okay, I just spent a shoot ton of money at Lowe's and Home Depot lately. So okay, I think we're not alone with that. A lot of people doing that right now. Okay, so we're watching Uber to the short side right now. AMC still busting. We'll wait on it still. We'll see if it can hit the 1450. We're pretty light on it now, but we still have a decent spot, just not as much as we would like. Always when it's ripping, I never have as much. That's how it works. But there it is. So we're just getting out of some Uber. It did get as high there. I like to average in back to 47, but just watch out now that these futures are at kind of a spot right now. And again, maybe I missed the sort of the levels that Arun was talking about, but that might have been, like, we got to wait to see that test one more time. If we don't test back, I mean, that's why I want to hold this Uber trade in case it does test back. I think we have a big win on it to the short side. So we're going to hold Uber back to wait to see if it breaks back above 13,300 here on the NASDAQ. So that should give us out at 47 or so. So we're going to wait for that 47 out. AMC still ripping. Palantir now, finally, we'll do a little bit of a backflip because it's going upside. But I mean, all we really did was fall on our face here as it does break 20. We talked about defending that 20 level. Thank God our average price was like 11s or 12s when we got out. So it was about a 20-cent hit. Then we take some more here. Not as heavy. But now we're making a little bit of that money back. And that's part of the game, right? Like, you got to stay in the game. So making some back is part of it. So we'll wait to see on that one. AT&T Neo not doing much today. We can always look at Peloton, Microsoft, things like that. It's actually Peloton. Did Peloton get to 100?
I think we got, Brendan might have some news for us here. Let's go to B.
I was just going to mention Marathon Petroleum, guys. MPC, remember on Friday, this happened. It absolutely fell apart on the news that the FTC was looking into. The deal was 7-Eleven. They actually called it illegal. So that is still happening. But we just got back about 61 there on a volume spike, trying to get back to the upside for MPC, guys.
I'm going to go on a limb, and we said this before with that MPC, that it's not good if they think your deal is illegal. Like I said, I got back into that, and I tried to get more shares there and missed on AMC. Back into that short. It's now consolidating, making a potential other move up. But it was that fail break the first time. Now failed, if only because it didn't continue through that 1450. I got out and then jammed back into some more shares there. MPC has never, like, and I'm going to get to that one in a quick second, but I just want to cover Macy's. This is a lower high that it's put in off of that 19 level. I know I talked about it, but I wanted to show you guys. I did get the short in front. If it gets down to VWAP, that's a decent target for me, but that 1875 area is where I would start taking some shares off. So I'm actually going to get some bids to the downside just to make sure we capture profit if this does want to go for us. The other one that we finally made some money on, and we'll fist bump it. Thank you, QuantumScape. The first time, it's probably on me. It's not a stock that I usually want to trade with a long trigger that happens right at like 9:29, right before the open. That's not a good look, so I don't necessarily love that idea. But we found that opening range bottom. We're able to catch it a second time. We got ourselves 27.95 in front of that 80. Second time through, we get some out in front of VWAP like we said we would, 35-cent winner. If it breaks VWAP, I'll take some more shares out there, guys. On the north side, I still think it has a chance to go, but this market is weak. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Macy's, I just showed you guys, I'm like, yeah, I'll throw some bids in front of 1875. It touches down, gets to 1876 or 77, and then bounces to the upside. So whatever, I'll just throw those out there. If it takes me out on the way down, I want to be able to sort of have my stop in. I feel pretty comfortable about it. The one that's moving, which is of course going to be a more concern when you're actively short, is going to be that AMC, because you're shorting a stronger move up on volume, not a lower high that's being put in like Macy's with a hard top at 19 even. This is just, and I'll go back to the 15-minute chart so you guys can get an idea. And it just froze on me. I'll show it to you guys in a couple of minutes here. But anyways, AMC trying to move down for me. Now, yes, I didn't get any shares up in the 29 to 30 range like I said I would. Still had those 19s a second time through. We made money, lost money, and we're still trying to make money in an upward trending stock. The battle has yet to be decided here on AMC, but I'm against the grain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about getting against the grain here. I'm going to get a little more Palantir as it's only been going one way. It seems like it right now, upside, and that's a good one for us as we just, damn it, like getting out right there hurt a little bit, but we're making it back on the upside right now. And I'm with you on AMC. I cashed out the majority of my shares up here in the 30s. Should have reversed short, sorry. That's on me for sure. That AMC short was looking nice up there, but we hold it out, see if we get a little bit of hope up for some AMC. I did want to go to Airbnb though. We talked about that a little bit before we threw to Brendan last time. 133 looking decent level. If you get the 20-minute chart up here, look at this, 131. That's where we touched down today, 131.50. So whether or not you like Airbnb or not, I think that's a decent level there, 131.50. So I'm debating right here taking a little bit of a long into that 131.50. Obviously, a lot of that's going to depend on what we think here downside on the market. The market's trying to bounce back up a little bit. So Airbnb off of not a great report, I guess, downside right now. Maybe we wait for 134, but I wanted to check in on some Airbnb as well. NEO not doing anything, like that's been a little disappointing. Neil's looking gift horses in the mouth. What happened there?
Well, I'm trying to not look the gift horse in the mouth. So there's one where like you shouldn't. That's the one that comes out and scares you. But yeah, I'm trying not to do that here with a Quantumscape because it already made that push to 29. It tried to break out a second time after failing right at the open. So we get that VWAP action on either end of VWAP. We're able to get some in front of 28.50. So we'll bank that profit. And it's gonna be a 50-cent winner on the next third. I'd like to see us test into 29 even before potential shot at the high break. I think you can look for that as a bit of a breakout play. So I will flat the trade in front of 29 and then look for like 29.25 as a secondary break. I said this one would be, well, I said ARPO would be a relatively easier one or sort of slower moving trade. I've got everything I'll take out in front of 130. It just has to break down to that 120 range. I'm not going to be averaging into this one. If it does test 150 again, I'll probably just get out at the top side on a 150 break if that's going to be the case. AMC, it feels like it was that good, failed jailbreak. It's starting to consolidate lower here. I mean, it's hard to see, but this is me sort of getting in on the way down at 19 even. But it's only like a penny or two in the money. It hasn't really gotten further than like 10 cents. I got bids down in front of 14 to see if we can't take off some of these shares here to the short side. And then if it breaks that, remember, it couldn't get any further than 1380. I'd probably flat it at 1380 and look for a re-entry point there. So AMC trying a second time off that high of the day. This is the third time I've been short, second time off the high of the day, guys. We'll see how it does work out. And of course, DoorDash, which I had just obviously missed that I'd say golden opportunity to get into the short. It gives you that 136.5. Has not been able to break 134 or VWAP, so there potentially is a move off the high of the day, or sorry, off that 136.50, that VWAP. If you miss it the first time, miss it the second time, I'm not taking it when it's range bound. If it breaks 134, there's momentum. At this point, it's probably a missed opportunity that we're not going to be able to get back here in the same fashion. So if it tests that level a third time, I'm more inclined to take a breakout long if the market's recovering than try to make that short work or force the idea with that short.
Okay, we don't actually mean to be out of AMC there, but we'll take it. We did have a wick down there that triggered out our stop order, so okay, we did get out there of our AMC, but hey, look, man, a win's a win. It lined up for the long, it's lining up for the short. I think this has been a great stock today, needless to say. So I've been going long, Neil's been going short. Purple on our charts will indicate one way, short, and then if you see greens followed by reds, that's long, and all reds are sells. So if you see these are purple, that means it's a short sell. And we do have a couple of those on board today. Not right now, though, as the market trying to make a move back up. The one stock that's really been strange to me, and I wrote it down earlier, NEO was looking for like a 34 break off the sticky note, but it tests up there early. We didn't do anything. We didn't take the trade, but that 34 was looking pretty strong, and then it comes all the way back down again to 32.90. So these are things that we notice all the time on NEO, and I have to be on here, and we have to watch it for these dips because there's lots of opportunities to buy NEO. One is not now. I just want to bring this up like a rip up, then a dip back down basically to pre-market lows. If not even pre-market lows, that's exactly pre-market low. But you almost got to that day low again there. So this is just a really, really strange one here for NIO. And then look, the story remains the same here. I talked about Palantir. Unfortunately, it couldn't hold this move down in the market, and we did have to get out. But I guess now, like, I'm just gonna write it down because like this 1975, I'm actually gonna star this even more. So what we wrote down here on our sticky note was 1950, but I think we got to go higher than that. I think we got it right here in the middle. I think we got to look at 1975 now because I didn't average in as much as I wanted to there because I was thinking, obviously, when we've just moved down 40 pennies, thinking that there's a little bit more downside, but look at that, completely wrong. We're now 44 cents in the money on Palantir. So good stock to trade to the upside here on Palantir. We'll wait to see a NASDAQ pull back. We'll see if we can't get more down here. I don't want to take it at the top. We've already made some mistakes taking out the tops here on Palantir. So let's hold what we have, and then we'll look to see what's coming next. But that's PLTR. We can look at some XOM. We can look at some
I got to do this one.
Yeah, go.
It's weird because it didn't feel like it was going to be this way with Macy's and the AMC a couple of minutes ago. But Macy's broke the high. We had the short in front of that 19. We got out at 01s when it broke, so that'll be the loser. And then, right into VWAP comes AMC. So this is unlikely to. I can't say this last trade won't be a losing trade because it could break the top and I could somehow miss a stop or something like that. But it wasn't able to break VWAP. But we do make sure we take profit the same way we did off of 14. I'll do the same thing with these 19s short and scalp a good portion of it. If it gets any lower, I'll look to those 80s to be able to get out. But it is still holding an upward trend. So you got to pick your spots if you want to trade counter trend. That's what we're trying to do here to the best of our abilities, which is all we can ever do here on the show. I kind of feel like I'm going to guess at this, but we've covered a lot today. And you know what's actually, of course, I hit the wrong key. I was going to talk about the Q&A. Yes, we're coming back at 3:15 for the close. Of course, we do that every single day. What I was trying to hit was, I think, 2, which is our Q&A. No, it's a watch list. Whatever. Guys, we have a Q&A coming up after the show. Mark Roberts will be joining us, of course, as always, every other Monday. We do it for you guys. Sometimes it's Arun. Sometimes it's Mark. Apparently it's number 1, which I wasn't expecting on my board there. So jump in, ask us any questions. It can be stock related. It should all be stock related. But it can be strategies, specific positions, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Stockfather is there as always. And he's always very, very popular. A name that's popular, and I'm sick that I don't have any executions, but I might have saved myself some coinage here. There was one long in Clover, and it would have been that breakout at 60s. It got you to $8, and it's doing absolutely nothing since. So I can't chase what isn't happening. Despite the fact that it's post-earnings and it had all kinds of volatility pre-market, I am shocked that there's essentially about a 20 to 30 cent range for the last half an hour on Clover, and it's one of the more boring names in the market. I would have expected with the short interest and, of course, the Chamath hype, I guess, behind it, there'd be at least a little bit going on here in Clover, but it's close to getting off my board for the rest of the day, maybe an afternoon break at 8. Time to take you guys to the small cap recap with Brendan.
Yeah, a bit of a theme so far this morning, 20-cent ranges. Not a lot of action so far. You got to be in the right spots at the right time, I think. ARPO, one that popped up in the pre-market. You can see all kinds of volume so far on a daily chart on this ARPO. 150 was a bit of a resistance point. That's the first line here, and then 160 above that. Ends up being the high in the pre-market, so it was able to get some fills there right off the open. But again, we're just kind of struggling. Volume dying down already on ARPO, trying to work its way to the downside. Let's go over to MindMed real quick. I mentioned before the open there, 380 was that kind of pivot in the pre-market, goes back to the daily chart. Above that, there's 410, a bit of an area, but we're just sliding down. I said 340 support as well. We're trying to hold 340 on MindMed. Not a lot to do, really. It's just sitting there. Clover Health as well. Trying to be patient with this. I was looking on the short side simply because of how negative it was in the pre-market, the action. We got back to 785 here, which is a pretty clear resistance point. Above that, you have 8 as well to look off of. That was 8, that last little push to the upside. So trying to be patient on the downside with Clover, guys. Pretty muted action so far in small cap world. Back to you.
The GOAT himself, Brendan, is always going to be good luck. So we'll do that one for you. Look, I said this before. The first time we were short off that 14, the lower high on AMC, it was right in that mid-80s range where it stalled out and I was able to get some shares out down there. So, of course, I'm going to take some profit. We get that 87. That'll be a quick 30-cent scalp trade. Maybe just a little bit more than that to the downside on AMC. Is this where it finally does that move where it's like it tries over and over again, and this, 3 times. So So I guess it's over and over and over again is what I should be saying for this 14 break. Each time it gets a little bit higher without actually getting to that 1450. So that's what we played off of. We did muted success on Friday. It would have been a little bit better if I had gotten in the last time, but was able to get them this time. It's kind of funny because that break where I got stopped out and then got back in, here these shares I have at 19, that's the exact trade that I missed when I was eating that delicious apple fritter from Tim Hortons. So we catch it this time through. And I do remember there was one more thing that I didn't say that was going on Friday, Sean, was...
What's that?
I casually mentioned that I could probably eat like 20 of those things in one sitting because I'm a bit ridiculous. And then someone was saying you should do that on the show. And I'm like, that would truly be disgusting because I would probably make myself sick. Even though I could do it, it's just like some things are not worth
cannot
doing.
do it.
I could do it.
20?
I could do it. I've done, I told the story where I did a dozen donuts before, you know who Mr. Thacker could get from the ground floor to the 20th floor to my building.
I know, but you were younger.
But I also had a half a liter of chocolate milk to wash it
go.
down with. That is also disgusting. Believe me, I actually did it. I have a few trades on. One of them, which was good, is now threatening the low of the day. The market's coming back to the upside. QuantumScape turns right off view up. This is why you take profit. Thought this stock had a chance at a breakout after sort of a good recovery, and this got flushed out hard on Friday, guys. A good recovery on Friday, holding some of those lows. This 2780 that we're long in front of sort of corresponds with that 2790-ish high that it put in the afternoon. So if it can't hold a level like this, I'm probably not going to dig in. I know there's a pre-market bottom in front of it. I will let this take out the 80, take the profit they were able to make back, which isn't all of it, and then see if we can't dig back into like a 27 as a bit of a last-ditch effort. Thought QuantumScape would get going today. We're happy to have gotten some kind of a long from 95, for at least up to that 50-cent move. And if that's all it gives it to us, you take what the market gives to you and walk away if QuantumScape doesn't have more. Brenda, what's up, buddy?
Just checking out Western Digital. I'm not really seeing anything significant. We've obviously had earnings on WDC, but nice move here. Volume coming in at the highs as well for Western Digital, guys, up about 4%. Getting close to these levels back here, 76.50, just above us here, recent highs for WDC.
Okay, I'm Western Dig. We stepped in already to AMD, not good. And now we're going to step into Square, hopefully good. We'll wait to see here, guys. Square rate at VWAP just to see if we can hold this. If it doesn't, we're going to get out. It's a relatively small trade, $200.75 or so on the downside here. I'm just going to try to hold this one about $1. See if we can't win about $1. We're long at 201.95, so we're just long right here. I actually thought I had a better price than that, but I guess I don't.
Oh my God, AMC.
201. Is it all the way back down? Yeah, there goes AMC. So again, good. I'll hit the money sign. We both made money on this name, so that's why it's a good one today. Up and down on AMC, but we noticed there. And again, if you're going to learn anything off this, and I'm sure Neil's talked about this. That's all we looked at was this level on Friday, right? So you get up there, and it's kind of an easy fade back down. If it's going to be an easy fade back down, it's kind of an easy long too. But I think you got to wait till at least 13:30, and the steam might be out. I think it's an easier short than it is a long because you know where you're wrong. On the long, you could drop for quite a bit longer on that one. So, okay, Square, we're in it. I thought I had a better price. I don't, but I'll take it right now as it's 40 cents in the money. Back to 201 is good. Upside, guys, honestly, I'm going to wait for 204. It's broken through VWAP here. Let's see if this can get going. They had the offering. That's done. Old news now. Let's move on. 203.50. We'll see if we can't take a $2.50 win on this, or sorry, $1.50 on this first part, and then we'll wait for higher. But right now, right in the middle here, 203.50. Needs to go another $1 and we'll take some out. But that's Square right now looking to go higher. We have it. Let's see if we can be right on this one.
There we go. And of course, it was a big flush there from 80s down into what level? Right into this. Look, I saw like 1350 get hit, but I had this level here like that 1366. The second I saw that pop right back up, I'm like, okay, well, it's probably going to make a bit of a bottom here. So I get up to that 66. I'm flat on it on AMC. If it comes back into VWAP, I'll probably short off of that 14. We've seen this sort of before where that fail happens and you go back into the last couple of sessions. And once it failed through that 14, there was basically no looking back. It would give a pop and then some consolidation. I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better. It would give a bit of a pop and then some consolidation higher. Last time was 1350. If that's 14 this time, then that's the play that I'm going to make. At some point when it continues this trend, it could make a stronger move to the top and give you like an afternoon breakout. It just hasn't happened yet, so it's again a bit of a push into that 1425 to 1450 area. It doesn't get to 50s, and then a rollover on AMC. You play the patterns, guys. That's all you can do. Looks like from that winning trade, Quamscape is very close to turning into that loser. Not there yet, but it's getting pretty close. Just to go back over to Coinbase, because it was such a great early success. Now, yes, it could have gone a couple of dollars further, but beggars can't be choosers there. We're back above 240, so it looks like I wasn't willing to call a bottom or pick a bottom on Coinbase, but it's trying to put one in anyways without me there. So you'll look for like maybe if 240, I don't think 242 is going to hold. It's been too weak for that. But maybe if it pops back below VWAP, like a 240 level could be worth a bit of a defense, especially if it doesn't even test. It doesn't even test too close to it, like maybe like a 41 or something bouncing, and you put a 240 stop in. Could be time to at least try a long trade in Coinbase if it gets back below VWAP. It's not there yet. I'd like to see it actually break it. I'm not kind of believing on it just yet to the long side, but it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, so we got wicked out again on this bad wick there on Square. So we take a hit there, but I guess we talked about this all the time. I guess you guys switch up our stop orders a little bit because again, a D print comes and we get wicked out there. So Square, I still like it. We could get back long now, but I'm going to give the NASDAQ a little bit of room to breathe. Square breaking up through 201.50, not a horrible spot. So 201.50, we're going to take it now if it goes back upside there on Square. And again, we don't mean to be out on this. It just sucks that did happen, and sometimes that will happen to us. So we're going to go back long here as I'm just sitting it up. Maybe 67, 68, something like that. We'll go back long on Square if it breaks back above this VWAP there. So small hit there, but again, what are we going to do? Palantir, though, okay. That's a good one. We could do some backflips as we are now at days high on Palantir in the money, 60 cents. Not been a good one today. It's been a good one recently, but again, fell down, now right back to the upside. Let's wait to see what Palantir does. We still have that, and like I said earlier on the day, right? We now have Palantir starting to battle back. So it's now going up and down based on the NASDAQ, which I like. So that's going to give us some good indicators there. So we'll wait for Palantir, $20.50, a good break there, especially if you go back a couple days. We talked about that, what the high sides were on Palantir. Right there on, this is pre-market, I guess, earnings, the day after earnings, and then we crashed back down brutally. So there's that 2050 area. That's like a very, very key level. So we'll look at 2050, probably get out, and then maybe look to short 2050. Look at what's happening right now in the NASDAQ, falling back to the downside, right? So we don't want to have Palantir on our radar long unless we, feel like we're basing out on the NASDAQ. So here it comes, right down to the downside. Let's probably get out of this one and then reevaluate Palantir. I don't know if it gets up to 2050 yet, but there's Square. We went short now, 2074. So here we go. Let's take out a little bit of profit now. Short Square, if we can get the bid, we'll take it right now. Square, short side. Let's see if we can make this money back. Where's my bid? It's right there. It's at 02. We're sitting there on 02. Do we get the fill? We did not even get the fill yet. We'll wait for 02s to crack. Okay, got to switch up the gateways there. We are at 02s on Square. Nice little trade to the downside. We got to capitalize.
And I'll tell you right now, it's a trap. That's what a discovery was, but sometimes your best trade is sort of sticking to your out. There's 37, come and gone, and we only wanted the long in front of 37. Once it broke, we got out. If you get stubborn about it and try to get immediately back in, what thought like a fake flush out, 35.70 is how far it got to the downside.
Unbelievable.
I don't know where the bottom is going to be here. I mean, I like the deal. I like the team up, but it's getting sold off pretty heavy here. And you look to the other side of it, of course, being almost said Airbnb, being AT&T starting to roll over. So that actually had opened looking pretty strong and showing some cracks here. If this breaks like a 33.30, all you know what could certainly break loose in that particular, in Coinbase going in the other direction. I did want to come back over, if I could, to Clover, which is trying to, and I said, probably the only trade I would look for is like an 8 break. So, and I sort of said that very, very quickly. It is creeping back to the upside. If this is the kind of stock where it could actually squeeze up, especially if it shows some strength, it's still up 3%, trying to get back to the upside. I'm not looking at that 795. I'll give it to that absolute even dollar, guys. So I like Clover through 8. It's probably the only way I'm going to take this trade at any point today after missing out on what was like a 30, 40 cent break the first time. AMC was going to be a re-entry for me. If it did pop up, it's starting to try to do that again, but cannot get off of the bottom here. So it's just that ARPO, the small cap. That's what we have to the short side. It's starting to come back in. Remember I told you guys, hold off, don't average in at VWAP. If it tests and breaks 150, I'll be out. If it tests and hold 150, I'll actually add to this 46 short that I have on right now. No need to do anything in the middle of this range. You don't need to force trades at this particular time of day, guys. You just find the ones that look good. And I'm not saying it's going to be Tesla time, but it's starting to calm down. If the market gets going, Tesla's trying to put in a higher low. It hasn't done it yet. Coinbase looks a little bit stronger for the time being, but I've already missed this one through VWAP. And Tesla, if the market can bounce off of this level here in the ES, which is the morning low, Tesla could be a long off of 575. Gives you a shot at the tight stop. Market has to try to reverse first, though, before I jump in. Brendo?
All right, one of the volume leaders so far is this, what is it called? Evolve Transition Infrastructure, oil and gas name, popping up on a joint venture agreement with Stone Peak. $750 million, you can see, with Stone Peak. So this Evolve, which is SNMP, doing all kinds of volume already today. It's just a little dollar stock. I mean, it held $1 there right at the open. But if anyone's wondering, a little bit of joint venture agreement work with Evolve there. SNMP, that's why it's doing so much volume. It's 10:30. Let's get a quick check on what's happening over in Europe so far. 1 hour left in the session over there. Ms. V is watching what is happening. What's up, V?
Hey Brandon, European markets are mostly positive. Diploma trading in London is up almost 10% after reporting a rise in fiscal first half profit and projecting full earnings ahead of expectations. Back to you.
Yeah, here we go again. More downside action looks like for North America at the moment, guys.
Yeah, we see the NASDAQ fading out, and we do have a win on Square right now, so that's good. 75 cents or so in the money. So we did get our bid. We changed it to 30s instead of 23. Or was I at 02s the first time? Like, unbelievable. We had to give up that 30 cents just because it wasn't filling us on the bid. But look at this spread, guys. I mean, it was picking up to like 30 cents when it starts to move. So I should have just understood that and then waited for it. But we got a little bit, too anxious there. We do take that out. So a nice little 50-cent win there on Square. And now we'll wait. Made some money back on it. Now we're just dancing. We're flat on Square if I take it out right now for the day. But again, if this NASDAQ wants to keep falling, I don't know where it goes from here. We'll get out if it goes back to VWAP. We've talked about that price level. So if Square wants to go back and dance around that level, then we'll get out and we'll be fine with it. But the NASDAQ right now, we've got to have something short if it does fail. So now see how fast that can go back up? Like Square right there was at 200. Now you're at 201 again, or 275 cents. So you got to watch out for that one. I do like Macy's. I feel like should have traded that today. I know Neil has. Nice to see Alibaba back from the dead a little bit. I haven't averaged in anything. Our last buy was, was it 218? Or I have to look. We posted it. I put it on Twitter. Alibaba and Ford were the last couple buys. I did buy some Apple recently as well. Alibaba does dip down to 209 there today. We can look back, low on Friday, 208. So I didn't average into that anywhere. But yeah, looking at this, Alibaba still needs to break 218 before we get super excited about it.
And I just noticed, of course, it's like Nikola, we have to pay for some shorts for us. I'm going to get my locates on that. It looks like it's trying to make a top. I've held off, which I'm gonna give myself a quick little pat on the back there, because usually I'd be trying Nikola at least once on the first rollover and be like really feeling good about myself when it got to VWAP, and probably getting in again and then getting blown out. So I let it make another top before I try to take this trade, guys. So I'm going to get those paid for shorts and then see if it isn't holding like this 13.35 and I can catch a decent price here. AMC is heading right back up to VWAP. I got the first little bit of shares there at 77. I'll sort of add to it in front of that little VWAP action. I was waiting for the bounce to be able to catch it. So waiting patiently. If the market goes red, I was actually waiting for some shorts to come back into me. One, a name that I was staying away from until it made a couple of highs there. And then, of course, AMC to come right back into VWAP. Not in Nikola just yet. As it tries to get this 35, when it fails, or if it fails to get through this 35, I'll look to catch the rollover. I want it on the way down, not on the way up. But AMC, I got it at 78 for now.
Ken H, yeah, I see you there, Ken H. What's up? Uber heading back down. We can have a quick look at Uber now. I'm still looking at Alibaba, but we'll go back over to Uber quickly. We've lost on it today. We went short and lost, and then it goes all the way to 50. Yeah, see, I guess we should have looked at it. When I look at a stock, I should really just stick with it, because Uber right now, it's at that VWAP. We could play off 47.50 for sure there. So actually, that's a good one. But I like Uber on a reopen, so we have to wait to see where it wants to go from here. But 47.50. I do like that call. So we take the 50 cents on, or sorry, the 50 cents on Square, and now it looks like we're going to lose another 50 cents on this move back up. But we're not getting out quite yet. It's getting close to that though. I like Square. It's not a name that normally I want to go short on, just because I think there's a lot in Square and there's a lot to go with Square. And it gets hammered when the NASDAQ falls, and obviously the story is true on the other way. So a 201.60 break, we're getting very, very close to that on VWAP, and we'll get out and then reverse a little bit long, and then watch out for this 202.50 break. Let's just see what the NASDAQ wants to do to the upside here. Looks like it wants to go, which reminds me, what about Palantir? So we got out at 25. We're still waiting for a 50 break. I like a Palantir 50 break. We'll go on it. We'll take a decent amount of shares, similar to what we took down here, just in case it does fail. But a $20.50. We do like that one. There goes Square. Now we're back long Square, long MMMD right now. Those are the only ones. JP Morgan.
I was going to say, you just said JP Morgan. I know what you're going to say, because Morgan Stanley, I was watching off the high. Of course, my 15-minute hates me. So it's going to try to freeze once again. Come on, give me a break. Yeah, it's not going to go. So anyways, I'll show you here. Morgan Stanley just broke 87.50 through a double top, and I'm going to see if I can't catch this move just a little bit late. I did look. I got AMC and I got both Nikola, both those two names to the short side. Nikola could break up, but I want part of this bank run, as I just saw it move to the upside. And Discovery, I said if it got all the way back and gave everything up into Friday's close price, I'd go long. So we waited $1.50 from that, well, $1 plus on that 37 break to the downside. I'm long Discovery again. It got all the way to that downside. Man, I can't believe I did. If you were saying it, I just missed the punch on that 87.50 break on Morgan Stanley. The banks, one of the few things I can see green.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was going to say. So let's take a little bit of advantage here, if we can, on this NASDAQ move up with Square, 40 cents back into the money now on SQ. So we're going to wait to see how far this one wants to go. It's already been up here. This is where we danced before, and it stopped at 202.40. So let's try to make a lesson here. 202.30. I won't say the exact price. Let's just wait to see if it goes up. 202, take advantage of this little rip up here in Square, make a little bit of money back. If we could get out right around here, it'd be nice. And then it'll just make a mess of it, but whatever. We'll put some money in our pocket at least on Square if we can get up to these levels here. 202.30, there it is. See, look at that. Now it wants to come back down. So this NASDAQ, man, is killing me. We got to watch out for the names that we trade. That's the most important. Which reminds me, like, we haven't looked at Softy yet. I think that's an important name to trade on. I do want to watch out for AMC. I want to go back there and see what that's doing as well. Microsoft, what a great day on, again, we weren't here on Friday, but nice little move up to 249 again. Wow. And then today we retest that 244. I've talked about that 244 a couple times. I love that level. And again, should have been there this morning and we weren't. So we're just I'm making notes as we go. Levels to watch even for tomorrow, even for today, like 244. It shouldn't have been there, so we'll wait for that coming to the backside. That's Microsoft. Your Space is still at 1650. There was some news about Space, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
potentially close or imminently going to have a date for the next launch. And of course, it's been pushed back the entire way through. And of course, that chart is still frozen. My 15-minute absolutely hates me today, but I can show you on the one. This is Discovery. This was a long consolidation off of the close. It closed at 35.65, but there was a bit of a level, call it like 35.50. That's what it just bounced off of now. So you're going to see me dip into it. It bounced off that level. I always want to see, and this is the same thing when I play the short side of a trade like this, I'll let it bounce off that level first. And when it goes to retest it, then go long in front of it. Like, I want to see buying come in front of the level when you're catching a falling sword. It did. And I don't know how much it lasted here. I have one entry so far. If it tests down to that 35.50, I'll get in one more time. And if 50 breaks, I will have taken 2 longs on Discovery. And both of them would have been relatively tight stops, and neither one of them will have worked out. Is what it is. At least the one thing I can say for myself is I've waited to the absolute bottom. I've waited to the prices that I liked, and then that's pretty much it. Like, I've only gotten in. I've held to my stop. I haven't fought to trade at all. I've had taken a couple of entries, so it's first on the dip down and second on the defense. And if I'm sitting there averaging into it, my day would be crushed on Discovery. Instead, I'll take my 2 cracks at it. If this can actually get back to like a 36.50 and maybe to like a 37, which would be crazy, we'll make it all back. But I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at how hard this is getting sold off now flat on the session. Positive to negative could happen. Obviously, I'm betting that it doesn't. I'm hoping that it doesn't. And then from one, I guess, losing and then now hopefully a winning trade, we'll see what happens. On the long side, that ARPO, I said, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. It's finally, and I'm talking finally, getting to that point where it gets up to that 150, does not break. Once I see it not break, I'm looking to get back into this trade. So I've basically held off all morning, averaging into this one, which has been a winner under the short side since the pre-market, till it gets to that test at 150. Now that it's here, I see if I can get some 48s, hopefully, maybe 47s. My out still remains 50. And then this short hopefully gets me down into VWAP, but got to get more shares in first. That hasn't happened yet. You guys are going to the big screen for Sector Watch with Brennan.
Hey guys, yeah, let's have a look at the S&P 500 here, see what is leading the way so far. We are negative, but only 0.3% to the downside. A couple of things to note. Tech stocks are negative among the leaders, in fact, to the downside. Here's STX and WDC, both having a nice day, as we mentioned. HPE as well, just noticed up 1.6% on the day. The rest, though, very, very negative. Information technology as far as software names and semiconductors, both all in the red. Same story in the consumer discretionary group down here. A lot of the travel names going to pop up. Some hotels here. Wynn. There's both LVS and Wynn leading the way. Penn National, LVS as well. Going to be on the downside. MGM, 1.7% to the downside. Here we go with some retailers. Home Depot and Lowe's, 1.9 and 2.5% to the downside so far. Direct your attention over here. Discovery K, so DISCK, up 10% on the morning, having quite the day. Viacom here as well, 1.6%. Here's AT&T, 3%. LUMN is there as well. So some of the communication stocks definitely in positive territory. Energy as well, and material stocks in the far corner over there, also in positive territory. Everything else pretty mixed. Healthcare mixed. Industrials pretty mixed as well. Only 0.3, guys, to the downside for the S&P. Back over to you.
And because, of course, this is what Discovery does. It blows you out every single time alongside. So it's the same thing, guys. I mean, it's relative. You can barely even see it on the chart because it's such a tight cluster in here. But once again, it breaks a low. I'm long right in front of it. I'm not going to fight the tape on Discovery. If there's a lower level, I don't know if it has yet to find it. Obviously, that's just entirely true. I still have AMC, by the way, and I kind of feel like it's not that I forgot about it, but like it rolled over here at 1380, and I had gotten like 79s. I was able to get a piece out here, and I got like 12 cents in the money at 67s. Now I headed back into VWAP. I'll wait to get a better price, and I don't want, so 79.80 again. I'd probably try to get something in the 90 range if we want to add back into this short. So, once we broke down at that fail break at 14.25 or whatever you want to call it up at the top side there, I play the shorts the entire way through. On Friday, there was follow through all afternoon to the short side of the trade. For me, the next one is going to be in front of that 14. So you try to let it come to you guys. That's the name of the game. We talked about Coinbase finally finding, I probably just jinxed it now by me saying this. Finally finding a bottom here. I thought maybe it would test through this 42 and VWAP, get you back down into 40s where I'd feel a little bit better about going into the long side. That's come and gone. And we're now like $7 off the bottom here in Coinbase, and I've got absolutely nothing to show for it. The original breakdown was through that 47. If it gets to that price, wow, I'll be pretty impressed. I'm going to fade 250, if only because it's the round number, if only because there aren't levels down here that make a lot of sense to us. The reference price is the only one that we have outside of the low of the day, which you just put in at 238 and change. So it's going to be a short for me in front of 250. If it pops in, you'll see probably like 49.5, 49 quarters, something in that range for the short side if Coinbase gets going. It's day trading around here, guys. I want the stock to go up. I want it to reclaim 250 at some point and find a place to be able to be a long-term buyer, add to that long-term buy, which is out of the money. But first things first, I got to day trade it, and it's a short 250 if it gets there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a long-term holder of Square as well, and again, the positions that we put on here on the show are just day trades, right? We have to be flat at the end of every day. Join us at daytradetheworld.com. Check that out, our number one sponsor there, out of Square right now, and then you can see all that. We do have a lot of videos about the fees. We did one last week that was fantastic. I don't know if that's edited and up yet, but I think it probably is. Okay, 202 right now, 202.34 right here on Square. We did take some out there. We're holding for the home run, and by home run I mean like 203.50. We'd love to do that. Thank you so much, Sterling Silver. There, you've been fantastic, and thank you for being you as well on that one. So thank you so much Ford right now, thank you for that $20, Sterling. Ford trying to break, yes, good. I love Ford, and that was one of the longer term plays. Again, I was discussing with some people over the weekend about Ford and why we like it, so it's nice to see up today, but I think there's a lot more room to go. Wow, Ford right at 12 now, guys. What does this look like on a bigger chart? Ford here, yeah, 20-minute, okay. New levels right there on the 20, on the daily, 12 not as exciting on a daily chart. Obviously, up here, 1260. I remember when that level was coming through as well, so that's a good little spot for Ford right there. I don't know if we're going to be too excited about it at 12. It's already hit there today, but we are at day's high right now for 12. So it's been up here early, 9:30, and then crashed down again. Wow, what great opportunities there were today to buy some of these stock low. But there's Ford at 12. I don't love the break. Maybe even the short Ford here into 12. Get out if it breaks through 12. So there's a couple different trades here for Ford. Other than that, man, MindMed, we're still YOLOing that one. And by YOLOing it, I mean doing absolutely nothing with it, waiting to see if it goes upside, probably doesn't. Or we're actually, our out hasn't hit all day. We're waiting for it to break back down through 20. So if that comes, we're out of MindMed. Other than that, right now, Mara, we could check out some Apple down a little bit here as well, down that 1.2% on Apple, but I would rather trade Microsoft and or Facebook right now than Apple. So those are what I'm working with. Square and MindMed, both long and both basically flat right now.
Yeah, I just got the reload, well, some of the reload here in AMC off of VWAP. Now 14 is going to be the next level for me. I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago to the upside there. So if I can get more in that 80 range, I got 83s now because the first shot was at 79s. I'd like to get a few more shares here in the 80s to improve that price and give it some more room, guys. The other trade I was actually just getting over to, and sometimes we talk about this all the time. If you get a trade you didn't want to have, just get out right away. Now, DoorDash, which I was looking to play original fade off. Remember, I was trying to get those shorts off of 136 a half. I left like the stop end of that trade, that 137, in anticipation of getting the fill. I was on the offer. I went ahead and canceled it when it tested the third time. I didn't cancel that stop. So I got a long at 137.14 when it broke. I just got out, paid some spread there, lost about like 20 cents on DoorDash. So it is what it is. If you make a mistake like that, you get out, you pay the spread. You don't try to turn it into a winning trade. Believe me, I'm sure everyone's been there at least once, and it's just not worth it. You never want to have that happen to you guys, so just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Going back to Macy's if I can, because this stock just continues to go. So thankfully I didn't dig into it, but going into earnings, I mean, the 6% doesn't do this justice. I thought it was, obviously I lost going short in front of 19, but I thought it was too far, too fast. And Macy's just continues to press higher. I'm not saying it gets to $20, but if it gets to $20, it'll take twice as many short in front of 20 as I would have in front of 19. It's getting a little bit too crazy up there, guys, and I had to take at least some kind of a defense of that level if it does push in. Kind of wish I had the idea to go long in Macy's, but it is what it is. I can't pretend that I did. I was looking to fade it all the way at that 19 level, and clearly that was the wrong idea. There was a stock, and I want to go to this one, if only because at the closing show, well, that lasts like 45 minutes on Friday, we had a good one. This was from Brendan, ATOS. He told us about this one, and it was a fantastic short off of $3. It was a monster level at 3 that we're able to short off of going in the afternoon right back into like 280. It has since broke and held this 3. So it's kind of like, this is a lesson to be learned, right? If you have a short off a level like this, like it was a 298 half short, can't break it. It's hanging out there in the pre-market trying to gap up above that price. Right here at 9 o'clock, it tests a 3, bounces off that previous resistance level, and has been holding higher ever since. That is just an obvious style of breakout trade that I should have had on. So it's pie in my face. We had this trade. Brendan gave us the name. We looked at the level. We had that $3 level on Friday. First thing you do is you make sure you come back in for a key level like that on Friday and see what it's doing at that price on a Monday morning. And that would have given you all the reason to go long. And it's been like 10% returns, out of its back end here every time you take the long in front of that level. Missed opportunity. We'll never let that happen again. Anyone that looked at ATOS and had it, congratulations to you, because that was I'm not saying trades are easy, but give me a break. Like, that's as easy as it does get. Friday resistance, holds all morning long as support. Got to take those wins when they're there.
Right now, before we go over to Brendan, I just want to bring up Western Digital. We've talked about that a little bit today. I know Brendan has. Okay, all-time highs right now, $76 on WDC right now. AMD, look at this stock. All the way back up. Darn it, we have that wick. Let's just go back to WDC. Anyways, AMD's retraced back upside, and so as WDC continues to go upside. So let's watch out. You talked about all-time highs. I have on here 76. That was probably a pre-market trade, 76.60. But either way, guys, we're looking at this break right now of 76. So if WDC breaks that, then we're going to get right into WDC breaking the high. If this market wants to go, you want to be on stocks that are strong, and WDC looks to be that way right now. So we're going to take WDC high side here through 76. Brendan's at the big screen with Money Talks, and I assume some crypto will be on the minds of people. Let's go.
Indeed, yeah, they are in fact trying to bounce, guys. I'll show you Ethereum right now, well off the lows from today. Anyways, we came down to almost 3,100 there at the bottom of that wick on Ethereum. Still down significantly, you can see 14%, but back to 3,400 on the nose. We're off significantly from all-time highs from last week or a week or so ago. Bitcoin as well, down about 10% today, still struggling around 45,000. That 44,500 area seems to be a bit of a sticking point for Bitcoin right now. Ripple, on the other hand, back to 150, up 10%. So a few are starting to bounce. Nothing else terribly exciting in the world of currency exchange so far today. Some muted action so far. The US dollar is kind of holding where we were on Friday. So you're going to see some small moves at the top of this board. Nothing terribly exciting outside of the Turkish lira, still moving to the downside 1.4%. Let's go back to Neil.
Wowzers. Lordstown much. Okay, that's a bit of a move there. I'm going to pull up right. Earnings this morning, and come on, give it to me. Load it up. That's slightly heading to the upside of 15% and just made a parabolic, another parabolic move, I suppose, on big time volume. So you're getting a strong press in Lordstown. Obviously, with a lot of these EV names, you're going to see the chart here, and it's not going to look pretty on the daily chart, obviously. So you're going to get a bit of a recovery, all things considered, until it gets to like 10. Are you in a serious recovery mode? Potentially not. So I would take that with a bit of a grain of salt. It's not in the range where it's getting close. It's not in the range where I'd be thinking about an automatic short. That would be at $10. Probably another consolidation press in the 9 would probably get me there as well, but I'm not going to stand in front of that one. I talked about the banks very, very quickly there. Sean was mentioning JP Morgan making a push, and we had that breakout that I just missed off of 87.50. Or so on Morgan Stanley. It just came back in to defend that price area. I got 55s. I'll probably give it back into the 40 range to see if it can't continue the trend to the upside. But if it's a deeper push back into 87 or VWAP, I'd rather give up 15 pennies and then hunt back for a better price, right? I'm not going to sit here and then just take a monster losing trade or hold too far against me when you miss the initial push on something like this, guys. It's about 10:55. It's getting close to lunchtime here, so you want to make sure you're taking paper cuts if you can. One name we did get back into, and we're scalping all the way through, is going to be AMC. It popped into 13.79. We got some out at 67. It pops into that 14 range. We're able to get those 90s. We just got some out there at 78, so taking 10 to 12 cents as initial scalp trade. We'll take more out in front of 65 to 70. We'll hold down through to like a 13.50 break. Ever since that failed push through 14.25, we'll call it, it's been a short for me. So I short the pops as well, but it's been a bit of an upward trend on the way back to VWAP, so we've been scalping on the way to it. See if we can't get this one for a bit of a winner. Morgan Stanley's still flat, and I'm telling you, it's not that I'm not obsessed with the stock. I'm just still perplexed and shocked. Discovery continues to just grind lower. So Palantir didn't put a single parabolic move on Friday. It was just a grind to the upside. Discovery, with the exception of this one harsh move, it's a grind to the downside. It is just perpetual selling all the way down. It's definitely shocking me a little bit here. Now, obviously, if AMC wants to do the same thing the rest of the day, I'll be pretty happy, but I just got the next target in. 74's out, 35's out on AMC, so this one continues to be lining them up and knocking them down. I short stocks much better than I actually bull, so I just like hitting that key. Brendo?
Just talking about or looking at Harley Davidson, HOG, popping up here today. This is not only a 52-week high, but it's also a 3.5-year high for HOG, up 6.5%. Don't see much on it today, but positive move here. Some volume coming in as well. Heading towards 51 here for Hog, guys.
Get on the hog.
Yeah, we've seen some nice cars coming through, or cars. Oh my God, what am I talking about? Nice Harleys there, electric. Okay, I was just looking at WDC here. I do want to go over to Harley Davidson, but here we go, guys. This is the one. We hit the hot dogs again, and I got to just keep doing this. And I got to say thank you to Brendan for putting this in our chat and be like, guys, WDC days high and still ripping. There it is, man. 40 cents, 30 cents win. We just took it. We took some out at 10. We take some out now at 36. So WDC, we talked about taking that. Well, Brendan, you know, I'm going to take another piece off right now if I can in the high 30s. There it is. Another one just got off. Yes, sir. There it is again. So again, the pins. And Neil, I know Neil just used this. I don't like to use back-to-back graphics, the same thing. But again, all-time highs. Busting out here. Futures not really doing anything. People looking to trade something. So I think you got to always look when that happens, guys, to names that are simply moving. And I know there's a lot that are moving, but this is kind of one direction here today, right? Just straight upside, up that 7%. It's in the right space. And there it goes, taking out. And again, like, this doesn't look anything like Intel or NVIDIA or any of the other names in this space, right? So, I mean, here we go. Like up to 40s now. Yes, finally, we'll go with the bang. There hasn't been too many of those today, but there it is, nicely to the upside here, 76.50 now and still ripping. But the point remains the same here, is that you look for stock that other traders want to trade as well. And then when it breaks out, hopefully we're there, and we're there this time with a nice price too, 76.01s long on, it shows 02, but okay, 76.011 there on WDC. So nice out there. We'll just have to watch it. I haven't been trading very good. I made a huge mistake there on ETHE to start the day, and I haven't really gone back. So we'll check out on Ether. Cardano still holding up okay at 211, guys.
I'm going to hit the power up, and this one is for not getting caught in ARPO, whatever, ARPO here. I'm short this all morning long. I mean, it wasn't on the watch list, but I had it since 8 o'clock almost in the morning. I took more shares at 9:13. I took more shares at 9:40. And then the last short off that 150 level does have this nice little tight stop, a short 48 right here, and it broke. Got out at 151. This is why you do it. Halted to the upside at 187. And wow, I mean, what do you think it just did to some shorts there? You guys know what 187 is talking about. Anyone that got caught in this short, if it does reopen, there's always a trade, at least for me, on the reopen of any of these halts. I look to some obvious levels. Look, if it goes to the upside, you're looking at like a 2 to 210 area that you want for the next obvious resistance level. But if we open, cannot break that 190 to $2, the halt's at 87s, guys, I'd look for a short immediately off of that level. But if it presses through that top, I'm going to back off that trade. Hands would be off the keyboard. But if it immediately tries to fail there, it's worth a tight stop short of like 15 to 20 cents. See if it can't flush back in. Otherwise, just get out of its way. These can get very, very ugly to the upside, especially if there's multiple halts, guys. So I'd watch out for the ARPO. I'm likely to trade it potentially off that reopen. There's a couple of ways I like to do it that I just outlined, but you're never forced to get into the south side of those. And if you're making money on this to the long side, you have to have some idea where you're taking profit, because it certainly won't last forever. These things snap back hard and fast when they do.
Okay. I don't know what else to do other than the fact that let's just hit Hydration Nation and start chilling out, because the vitamins, the water, giving us a little bit of a clear thought here. Look at WDC. We just took some out at 50. We do that every single time there. Man, that water tastes really great. Okay, 76.75 right now to the upside on that day. You talked about Nikola. I talked about Fisker. I think we're almost ready for earnings. I think it's Fisker is at some point. We know Ride is this. I think we just saw in the chat there that Ride
next week.
Is this week. Is Fisker tonight or tomorrow? Tonight. Okay, so FSR coming tonight. Thank you, Ms. V, for that one. Okay, 10 bottom there. We're going to look to see what Fisker can do here. On earnings, this is the kind of note that you want, right? You want to see strong into earnings. So we're up that 4 or 5%. Again, we talked about EV being kind of like the marijuana space. Just, a lot of hype gets going, and then it's kind of like just disappointment until you actually show us the money. Tilray today got some great news. We'll talk about Tilray in a minute. They got not just Tilray, but the whole space. You can look that one up too, Brendan. I don't know if we I don't think we mentioned marijuana too much in the pre-market, but some Fed rules coming through about growing medicine, things like that. So we'll wait on that news to get you exactly what it is. But 1120 right there on Fisker, that's the level that I'm looking for. You do have a wick high, 1180, but 1120 break on FSR probably happens in the afternoon, but I do like that name, so we can wait on Fisker trying to take that one out. WDC pulls all the way back in, man. We didn't take out the very high, but we only have 20% left. So far, so good on WDC. Let's see if it takes it out. And then Square, I mean, we took out half of the position that we had left right there on that tick. Was hoping for more, waiting for 203. Now it looks like we'll get out on the downside here as the NASDAQ just keeps on crashing. We tried to hold Square for that home run, but now it's coming right back in, guys.
Okay, first of all, I just got into that ARPO when it opened back to the upside. Looks like, I mean, I saw it a wick at 2 even, but it barely even tested up. It immediately failed back below that 187. I got 177s. I'm not Brent, I'm not going to actually sing that line. That's not. I know the song you're referencing. I know what you're talking about with Snoop. But I'm not going to put that one on there. You guys know what it's all about. But anyways, I able to take a quick 10-cent scalp trade. Remember, this is basically a penny stock. So 10, 15, 20 cents, perfectly happy to do it. The breakout was at 150. So I probably wouldn't hold any shares below that mark. If it does make the move, I got some more bids at 66. I got a bid here at 62. I'll throw one down into the 150 range. But you got to have a plan of action. Reopen week 1 on ARPO there, which we're anticipating could be one of the ways that we got into the short trade. So got it, worked for now, I will say. Of course, I mean, it could certainly change its mind. Continue to grind to the downside is going to be AMC. So this is much better than my fate on Friday when I missed this move. We're able to get this short multiple times with, of course, the one time where we almost made top wick up here at 35s. Somebody else made 38, so ha ha ha. Nah, it's really not that. It's not that funny. Someone made top wick. I've been there before. We've all been there at some point, guys. So I got 35s. That was the one hit. It's been short ever since. It still can't break 1350. So as long as it holds that, there is some hope of a bounce in the afternoon, I would say. I'll likely be almost everything out at that 1350 mark. It's not there yet, but it's getting rather close. This isn't the one that got away because we both had, I mean, I don't know if there probably isn't a better trade on the board than Coinbase, Sean. I'm going to assume that's true. It is for me. I mean, it was such a good one off the open to the short side, but man, look at that bottom. Anyways, we tried to find a way to go long in Coinbase off of that low. I just never could find my way into it. It is very, very close to testing 250. It got to 248 there. If it gets to 250, this is a pure day trade shorting it. I know it looks relatively strong. I know crypto's making a bit of a bounce to the upside here overall, but you look at a reference price like that, it was so good multiple times off the long. It was a good breakdown off the open for the short. I got to at least try it one time here if I get that 49 and change off of that 250 level on Coinbase. Pure day trade, nothing against the stock. And that ARPO, as soon as I was ready to celebrate, here we go. Got more shares into that back into the top end of this range, guys. So it still has a chance. And I'll always look at that halt price, that 187, and tell myself if it reclaims that, then it's trying to make a second push that I'm not willing to fight. The next push would be probably into 2 even, so I'm not going to give it that far, guys. Got back in at 78s. You give it about that 10 pennies. If I'm taking 10-cent winners, I don't want to lose too much more than that. The first exit is usually about my same level of risk, whether it's the first 25% or the first third. I don't usually split hairs. So ARPO, not done yet, just got back into the short. Brendo?
Just remember, guys, talking about this Clover. Anyone looking at Clover here, I was just reading earnings, yes, but apparently Hindenburg, if you remember back in February, there was a Hindenburg short report on this thing. Apparently they're talking about it now as well, just kind of defending their ideas and defending their position because the report was a little bit better than expected, hence the move this morning. But heading back southbound for Clover, guys.
Because, of course. And as I say it, Brendan, you're like the best good luck charm ever. We'll go gates of hell for ARPO. I do get back into it. It holds that halt price. We'll scalp basically the same price as we were the first time we took those shorts. So that 67, 68 range. I got some at 65. Now sitting down here on the bid, low 160s and 150, the ultimate target. I, oddly enough, didn't make a single trade in Clover. I like that one breakout at 760. I suppose I should have liked it when it retook that level to the downside, but you know, you can never predict when these reports come in. Hindenburg doing that thing that they do. It's causing a bit of a move, but this is actually held for now, that 720 low of the day. Interesting to see if it can bounce off it. I don't want to force any trades at lunchtime here. Just have that AMC and the ARPO. And I kind of feel like the next trade I'm going to put on is going to be Coinbase short in front of 250. I don't want to. It's one of those ones where I love to see. I never want to see myself lose a trade. Actually, if you're a bull, you almost want to see a healthy bit of a pullback, bounce off of like VWAP that gives you an entry point there. And I'm not just saying I want that to happen because it gives you a chance to buy lower if you believe in the stock, but it's actually a healthy thing to get some pullbacks and not just parabolic moves up that get faded very, very heavily. So if I put something onto the short side, it's very likely to be Coinbase still. That AMC looking okay, not fantastic to the short. And then, of course, that ARPO, you saw the plan of action after the halt. You better make sure you have one trading some of those thinner stocks with the low float when they get into those halt trades. Otherwise, you get blown up pretty quick. We had a plan, we executed, nice little win.
Okay, so we had a plan and we executed it, and it only went back to flat. So we did take Square here. We were just holding it. We got out of half. So again, it wasn't too much to have to hold against us. You could see where we averaged in now at $2,200.25. It goes. So now our average price, you could see on the board, $200.70, and then it goes right back to basically flat again, 270 cents right there. That's that price. That's our average price. It goes right back there on those wicks just a couple minutes ago, and then fades back in. We're going to give this one to the bottom. We'll see if it can hold or not, but Square on a move back up can get up here. So I think this one has at least $1 in it. That's long 200 right now, 70 cents. So we're back flat on this. I mean, you consider this flat. Obviously now I do, as it's printing the offer. So we're back to flat on this thing, and there it goes right back. That's not a real 37, is it? Right back to the downside there, but is that real? That's PhilX? I guess maybe that is there. Maybe a stuck order on that exchange, but we'll wait to see if it can get upside now. $200, keep running Square. We'll see if it can go. It looks like that is a real order there, holding it against. You can see some dark prints coming through there. That was up at $200.65, and then this guy showed up. So the PhilX needs to break there. I don't know what it's doing holding it, but it is. So upside right now, I like it on Square. Just got to get through this $200.50, and then we'll come up. So we're going to wait for $1 on this one. Even back here I like, so we'll wait on Square. We're going to give this one a little bit of room to the downside. That WDC dances for us, but nothing to worry about. Goes back down to 76 again. We should have probably got out when it was at 75. Normally that's an out for us, so we'll wait to see if it can test back, get out at 76.50 if it comes back up. Man, now the market's falling back down, so that Square reverses back to the downside. We got to give this one some room, man. Any market movement down, wow, this thing just gets pumped. So Square way weaker than the market is strong today, so we got to watch out for Square. We'll probably get out of this one. 199.50 break, guys. Just got to double check my stop orders.
Yeah, and the stock, which is maintaining some strength. I mean, it's shown some kinks in the armor, that Macy's. Try to get to that 19 quarter. Of course it couldn't. You can see here. If it got to 20, you know I'd already be short, so it's not there yet. It's trying to retake 19 even. It did once, bounced back up, got to 19.10. You're seeing a bit of a lower high put in. And it's not to sit here and fight the stock over and over and over and over again, but if it's going to get back below that 19, I will take a shot, but not to the high of the day. I'll get short on a 19 break. I'll give it to the top end of this range, like a 10-cent type risk. A very, very tight stop, which is kind of what I want to do here on anything that I've been fighting, not fighting the tape on, but essentially fighting the trend on. And I say trend, and then it's kind of hard not to come back to what was the first story of the day and continues to be. I mean, Discovery's still falling. It's now down 2% on the session. It's broken 35 into 34.8 and change. So, I mean, This is one of those where the market is speaking on this deal, and it is getting absolutely crushed. That 43 top was unreal. I'm telling you, if anybody had that someone in the chat, if you had anything above 41, then that's God mode, guys. So unbelievable if you had that trade. It might have been Marlon was like, I bet you Neil short this. No, I wasn't even looking to short this thing in the pre-market. I didn't think this would happen. I'd be doing like belly dancers or whatever I could for if I had this one, or thought the idea that this was going to be this good at the short side, but I didn't see it. Unbelievable if somebody did. It's continuing to get crushed. It has not made a bottom. It's now $8 from the pre-market highs and showing no signs of slowing down. If AMC falls $8, I will eat all the fritters. It's not going to fall $8, but it is slowly sliding back in. It's all about pattern recognition here. If it breaks this 65, I think that's the move down into 50. So in anticipation that that could happen, like one of these quick 10, 15 cent flushes, I want to make sure I have an order out there. So if it breaks down to the 50s, I'll get some out there in front of that 50. It's at that time of day where things are calming down a little bit. It could still bounce back into VWAP where I'd probably get some shares in the mid 90s in front of that 14. But this one working just fine and no cause for concern. It's weird, but I mean, I tried Nikola. That failed, tight stop short. I didn't even think about that Lordstown when it popped up there. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe it goes a little bit higher into 9. Well, that happened. So Nikola, Lordstown from 7 into $9, now back into that 850s. That did turn around. I've definitely missed out on that one. I don't know that the story is going to be done. I believe they're not reporting, I think it was like next week, in 1 week or at the end of the week. Upcoming report, parabolic mover on volume reversing heavily here. Just because you missed the first trade is always something that can happen next. And if it comes into $8 where that secondary push happened, there's always a chance to short this lower high. So call it like 860, call it 865, give it into probably the 875 area, not to $9. That's too far given where your risk to reward is. So you're looking at that 865 area. I'd give a shot at Lordstown there and only there.
All right, yeah, look, a great talk there. I like the God mode talk as well. We're trying to go God mode right now on Square, but try to pick up these godly, ugly bottoms right now on Square. So we'll wait to see. I thought I put a bid there. Why didn't I get that? Oh, it's at 15. Okay, even lower than that. Okay, we'll wait to see now if Square can come down. I made a mistake before. It wasn't 199.50. It's the bottom's 198.50. So I'm going to give it to the 198. I mean, I said I was giving it to the bottom anyway. So hopefully you guys can watch that one. We're going to give that to the bottom. And again, I'm bidding. I should just bid right now. Forget about this 15. Let's see if 50. Oh, here it comes anyways. Maybe we get that 15 in a minute. WDC, though, this is the one. Good idea. And I should have hit the Brendan one there because brought this to our attention. It's not on my radar, nowhere on our lists, nowhere anywhere. WDC today, bang, right back to the upside, high side right now. I think this is definitely a spot to get out. So just put my offer there, see if we get hit right there. There it is as it rips through. Yes, sir. We closed the trade. This one puts a smile on my face. This is actually, I mean, I like the Coinbase one, Neil. You're right. That's probably technically one of the best trades that we had. But if you go back to technicals as well, I like this break of 76. So again, we talked about why we like this. I don't have a problem. I talked about the losers and the winners. And this one, to me, just based out pretty nicely. All-time highs, ripping. We've already been up here about a week or two ago. We tested there again. Nice movement. You see the bottom, just 64 not too long ago, all the way to 77, 78. Not only that, but it's in the right space for me. So I like the chip names. You guys know that. AMD, NVIDIA. Now here goes WDC, Western Dig, back to the upside. So a good little trade there. Faux show. MindMed not doing jack all. And then we did get our... 1 minute. We did get our Square bid, so there we go. The truth is in the pudding. Told you we were waiting at 199.15. We get that, and now we're going back to the upside. Average price 230 right now. So I'll probably take a little bit back off on this move up. And again, sometimes when you put money in your pocket, Neil, it's never a bad thing, even if it's not going to be a winning trade. We just got long at 15. It's back to 70. Let's take a piece off now on Square.
Exactly. Put the money in your pocket. Sometimes rinsing and repeating is a great thing, but you've got to make sure you're profiting from it. Like this ARPO is going to continue to give trades off of that post-halt level. And again, testing up to that high. So it's done it a couple times, like 1, 2, this is the third time. It tests to that 187 halt price, comes back in. I'm going to take more shares in there. I know I've held some the entire way, but I was able to get some at 81, guys, so improving my price again to 79. Every single time it does it, I plop a bid down like 10 pennies or so, then try to get some as well at that 165 range. At some point, if it continues this trend, it's breaking the top and my stop is going to hit. I'd also look to that $2, that even $2. Maybe it makes a reversal off of that level. Maybe it's even worth a quick little breakout for any of you that it can only go to the long side off of $2. So ARPO, I'm rinsing and repeating, but just because I'm shorting off that level, and I think we can get that back down to that 150, doesn't mean I'm sitting there not doing anything while I'm in the trade. It continues to grind higher, but I've been making that money by getting some of the bottom end of the range, which I'm going to try and do again here in the low 70s and then the mid 160s. AMC is doing that thing that AMC does. And just to show you, I mean, Brennan pointed out to me when I'm sitting there saying, am I missing something in Discovery? Like, is there something about this deal that I don't get? Obviously, there is something I don't get because it's a lot weaker than anticipated. AT&T breaking through pre-market lows as well. So both these names getting absolutely battered. Now, I don't know, if AT&T gets to 32, like, give me a break. But I mean, at this point, it kind of feels like it's going to happen, and it's almost inevitable, guys. So if it gets to that price, I'm probably looking to defend it. It is what it is. For now, I will ride this train. Oops, did I hit the bull instead of the bear? Whatever, meant to hit this one. I'm obviously not long ARPO, so clearly I meant to hit the bear. That's loud. Meant to hit the bear. So you rinse and repeat off these levels over and over again. Sean says it. And I'm going to double down on it. Take your profits. No one ever went broke taking profit. You know, if it means it's scalping some trades here and there, and you think it can be a bigger move, and you're getting out way too early, who cares? You know what? Like, I would rather sit there and not have a perfect entry and exit, give up some of the potential upside or downside if I'm shorting on a trade there, than not profit at all. If ARPO holds this range all afternoon and breaks out at 190. Then you would have sat there with an actionable range of like a 10 to 15% move, and you've made nothing on what was a good call. Or I can sit here and take out like 80, 90% every single time, hold back for a VWAP trade for a little bit of it, and if it goes all the way, fair enough. I've taken out most of that trade for a smaller win, but who cares? You've banked that profit. Do what's going to make you money in the long term, not what's going to look really, really good and really cool and make you feel like you hit that absolute home run. It's great. Sometimes you'll get the home run, but last time I checked, Ichiro's going to the Hall of Fame as well.
Yes, he sure is. Hit singles,
but
Pete Rose, of course, not going to the Hall of Fame. So we'll
well, that's why I said Ichiro. I can't say the actual hit king because
unbelievable. I think he will go there eventually. Okay, he should anyways.
Opinion.
I mean,
whatever.
Wait till everybody gets caught gambling. All they have to do is investigate now, and they'll see probably all these guys are probably gambling right now. Okay, 720. Okay, someone said, like, what's a good long entry for Clover? I like Clover. We've talked about this today. It's hard to when you. Oh, come on. I was gonna say when you look at the daily chart, where to find it. Look, I mean, you have the 50-day moving average there. That's normally a spot that I really like. Those of you that have watched the show, I've given a lot of examples of 50-period moving averages that work all the time. So, and it touches that. I don't know if that was today. I guess I don't think the high of 835 is realistic today. But anyways, that is the high there. So I think you have to wait if you're looking for Clover. But at the same time, if you want to dance with the devil a little bit and you don't mind getting flushed out if it happens, then right now is not a horrible spot, believe it or not, for CLOV, because you have these bottoms. So you can get long, like 690. Join us right after the show, by the way. We're going to do some Q&A. We do get, it just reminds me, we get a lot of questions about stocks like this. This is worth it. I actually, stop giving me these ideas, guys, because like now I kind of want to step in to this name because your out is pretty clear. Like, if you have a 10% downside, that's the all-time low. So you're getting very, very, I mean, besides that wick, I guess, the only real risk, for those of you that are watching the show right now, the only real risk is that it opens up significantly lower, right? And so you can't get out. So that's always the risk when it's these kind of stocks. Like, I know AMD is not going to go from 75 and then open up tomorrow, 10% down on one print, right? So, but this can easily happen with some of these other stocks. Like Clover today with bad news, tomorrow it just opens up $5. And there, all of a sudden, your risk to reward ratio is gone. But if you are into a name and you like Clover here, I think this is a good one. If you're going to be a little more conservative, wait for this 850 break. And then at least you have some momentum to carry you upside. Right now, you're trying to catch swords. So if you think Clover has something in the pipeline that you like, I can't fault people for going long right now on Clover Health.
Yeah, I mean, and I love it. You have to have some idea, and I love the risk to reward. That's the idea of talking there. You always understand what that secondary risk is. You can have a level on a chart, but understand when you're going in the longer term, you can always get those gap size moves. I just wanted to come back to a name that Mark had mentioned. I mean, the market's sliding back to the downside. I mean, we're 0.5% on the ES and the NASDAQ, just a hair under that 1% down. Remember Alta Beauty? Yeah, every now and then we're going to give the stock father credit. Holding up pretty nicely, I'd say, basically flat on the session. Sometimes it's not about what is screaming to the upside or that's making the big time parabolic move. Sometimes it's enough. Showing strength is not being down when the market is getting beat up a little bit. I still only have those two shorts on. There's only 10 minutes left, guys. AMC, right back into VWAP. This is why I just went on a bit of a rant about hitting singles and taking profit. But again, like if you don't take anything on this pop on AMC, if you don't take anything out on the way down towards 1367, you're basically betting it all that it makes a fresh low, at least on the morning session, not including the pre-market. I think that's a little bit reckless. Now it's back in the 90s, and I have 92s now, and I can get more short if I like in the 92 to 95 range, give it to like 14 even. If it breaks 14, I'm still up on the session. If I just only shorted here at 79 and then shorted again at 90, 92 and never took anything off, then you're sitting there in an 85 short, losing 15 to 16 cents a share, and you've made zero. And it's just a straight losing trade when the read was good to short the pop, right? But it couldn't get past 1365, so you take profit in front of 1365. I'll try and do it again, and like I said, it cannot turn into a losing trade unless I fall asleep here or my stop doesn't hit. Something along those lines. So if 14 breaks, fair enough. My last short will have been a losing trade. I've already had a loser when it broke the high of the day here at 14.35. But overall, AMC been a good one as long as you stick to the plan. Brendo?
I've been seeing a whole bunch of little teeny tiny mining stocks popping up on volume today, and we can have a look at the ETF, gold miners, I should say, or metals. This is the gold mining ETF GLD. 3 days in a row, you can see on the daily chart here, straight to the upside. Recent highs for the price of gold. So if you want a kind of slow grinding trade that's trending nicely to the upside, GLD having a nice move again today, guys.
Yeah, I think gold probably, Brendan, getting a little bit because of Bitcoin going down would be my guess. But we'll see. Gold, good little trade there and trending up the last couple of days. So that makes sense with Bitcoin now. Today we can look at it right now. Wow. Ugh. Not good. 44 right now on BTC. So if you look at a daily chart, we're actually pretty broken now on Bitcoin. Let's move it over. I mean, I don't think it's, I say broken, but I don't think we have to get scared about anything. It's just, come on, move over. It's this level, right? Like we're in this kind of this no man land here. So you know, do we test 40? Probably. I hate to say that. That's only 10% lower. And then after that, like, you know, again, I'm really worried. I'm not worried, but this would be the level if I'm worried about anything, would be 30,000. And again, I know that's 30% from here, but it could happen. So just don't count your chickens here before they hatch, buying, you know, all those mansions in the Hamptons, guys. Make sure that your Lambo, if you bought one, that you can afford gas. So 60,000 right there to the upside. We'll wait to see if it can come back in. A few of my coins are still rocking. We've talked about those, although Cardano now 210 right now, 207 actually, and rocking around. So yeah, was higher on the weekend, was 240. So a nice move down on Cardano as well. But again, that's the thing. Like when you're trading crypto, it's a little bit different because these stocks have come, not stocks, these tokens, coins have come from so low. So there are going to be some pullbacks. We talked about Tilray, and we weren't able to find any news. So what I read, I don't know what it was, but Tilray, I thought there was maybe there's a bill coming or something coming. I read something about federal and medical and things like that. And Tilray, of course, merging with Afria. Afria's big in medicine, so is Tilray. So we'll wait to see. There's obviously other companies as well that are involved there, but there's Tilray today up that 7%, and you have a nice bottom of 1350. My Afria shares got turned over already into Tilray, as of all of yours, I would assume by now, as Afria no longer a symbol. 1510. You know, I always say that when you get this up 10% or so and you're in the name, you should probably cut bait a little bit. So if that gets back up here, 1520, we've had some nice shorts on some of these cannabis names, and I don't think there's another one coming on Tilray, especially if you break right here, 1475, or you can wait for VWAP, 1470, then we probably retest back down. So watch out for Tilray. Again, might have got excited off something there. I thought I read it, but Brennan's double-checked that one, and if he says no, then I say no. So watch out here. I think a short could be coming, breaking through VWAP on Tilray, but do your research, guys. Could be something there, could not. We'll wait to see.
Yeah, and watch out. I've 14 breaks. My fifth or sixth short, there it is. Fifth short will do this on AMC. So it does break to the upside for me there. And this way you have plan of action, guys. We've had 5 separate shots at AMC, and you make sure you take your scalp trades for your profits. I got a new one in here as well. That's going to be, we talked about this maybe a half an hour ago, I think, on Lordstown, when it actually tested and then made that like breakout 875 or so. It comes right back into that 875 area. I end up here with a 64 short. Now if 75 goes, it's a bit of a tighter stop than you would see. You know, it does have this one little wick here that's kind of crazy up to 9, so kind of ignore that. I look at that 875 at the top and then walk away from it. AMC, just to show you guys the chart and show you it's true. Well, you guys can see the position, not in AMC anymore. There we go. There's 14, there's the out. We got back in one time in the low 90s, so we'll lose about 9 pennies on that last trade. I might still jump back into this trade off that high of the day, if only because if you weren't watching at the beginning of the show, if you weren't watching on Friday, oh, that's annoying. I'm just gonna manually change this from 1 to 15 so you guys can see here. We'll go 15-minute chart. I just wanna show you that level, of course, that was key. Both on Friday and on Thursday, the initial break to 14, which stalled at 14.20 on Thursday. Then the actual break on Friday came through multiple times, couldn't get past that 33 to 35 mark. The same thing has happened here. It got to 38. So playing off that level has been incredibly profitable for you if you've been patient, letting it test and get to that high instead of fading it too early along the party, guys. So that's what I've tried to do here this morning. We've had success with it. We've had 2 losing trades on AMC. Both of them, we showed you guys live as they were happening when I made almost a top wick, and then the one there that's breaking that 14. So not averaging all the way into 14.30, 14.35. I'll let other people make that kind of a trade. I don't think it makes a heck of a lot of sense.
Okay, yeah, we're looking around. And I mean, right now, I mean, not my whole afternoon. It's still the morning. Hello. Yeah, right now, Square. Like, damn it. You could see where we're long, 199.80. We just keep averaging into this. Stupid move, yes. Good move, no. I don't know what this is going to be, but Square right now just keeps dancing back and forth and around. So I don't know what to think. Like, it goes in the money. Like, we are in the money again on this trade, so or close enough to it. So my net right now is like teetering back and forth depending on this Square trade. Let's go market. We just need this market to bounce back, and we'll get some Square out on the upside, then hold the rest for hopefully what is going to be candy time on the upside for Square. But still looking very, very close to breaking that bottom. I don't love this. It should have gone already. The NASDAQ, I know it's time for Brendan in a second. This is what I just want to show you just for education, guys. Like the NASDAQ is going here. You can see that. And look at Square. Doing absolutely nothing. I know there's the offering there, the senior notes, but again, that should already be taken into consideration in my opinion. So I guess they just want to sell every uptake here on SQ. I guess we'll take damn it. I guess we'll take this out for a loser. I didn't want to have that today on Square, but it doesn't look like it wants to go. We're waiting for the bottom to break, Mr. Wickens.
All right, a couple minutes here to go in this version of our show. Make sure you come back this afternoon, 3:15. Join us again for the last 45 minutes of the day. So here's a plan. In 10 minutes, you join us for our members Q&A for 45 minutes. Then you come back at 3:15 and join us for the last 45 minutes of the day, where we will once again discuss some of these earnings, guys, coming up either after market tonight or before the open tomorrow. There we go.
We said it was going to be all about the, the retail space. You can see middle of the pack, Walmart, Home Depot, Macy's also on that list. 10-cent music, TME, of course, being caught up in that Archipelago's fiasco and some buying by Soros. Was heading to the downside there. And a couple of others that should catch our attention, of course, Baidu and XL Fleet, so more in the EV space.
Yeah, I'm actually in Fisker and XL Fleet. Those are like the only ones. I'm caught Nikola a lot higher, but not that much money in there. So I'm waiting to see on that. And then Lowe's is not on there. Lowe's to me a little more interesting than Home Depot, but yeah, Home Depot and Walmart will definitely set the tone for what is to come later on this weekend. I mean, what's to come so far has been a big one. We're super, super happy. Oh yeah, someone said, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Timur, what did you say there? I'm not sure what your answer was. I see Russell there. Thanks for bringing it up. And yeah, Russ, we talked about you sending a package here. I think Laura's gonna talk to you about it. We haven't got it yet. The egg comes first. That's why eggs go better with bacon. Yes, correct. Actually, you know what? I'm agree with you there, Russell. Yeah, eggs definitely come first because of the bacon factor. Duh. So silly that I didn't think about that one. But what's up to you, Russell? Thank you for joining us. And I know, hopefully you'll be able to join us. I know in Australia, obviously, times are different. But we're back, Neil, of course, at 3:15. But in a couple more minutes, we're back with Q&A as well. So Fisker, XL Fleet, Home Depot, obvious names on watch.
Yeah, I mean, Ideonomics was on that list too. I just noticed IDEX, which we've traded in the past. That can be a good small cap for some moves. So decent chance we can be into that one. You never really know. But there is one more thing we got to do before we get out of here. We always go to Ms. V for what national day it is. I will say the egg came first as well there, Sean. But let's go to Ms. V and see what national day we got.
Hey guys, thank you for starting this week with us. We'll be back for Q&A right after the show. And guys, you can find the link on our Twitter page, on both community pages and on the live chat. Also, please don't leave without liking this video. We are just at 1,300 of likes and we deserve much more likes, guys. So please smash the like button right now and happy National Cherry Cobbler Day, everyone.
I mean,
Cherry's not my favorite.
Cherry cobbler would not. I'm neither me, Sean, and me neither. But I'll go with like a peach cobbler, of course. Look, I'm sure it's still tasty. I'll probably eat it if you put it in front of me. But I'll go with the peach cobbler. But I will say this much: like the video if you like peach cobbler or cherry cobbler, or you don't like any of them. But make sure for all of our members, anyone who wants to be in that Q&A, there's still time, of course, to join and sign up. We'll all be there. The Stockfather will also be there, guys, for our members Q&A. It's coming up right after the show, guys. This is our way to give back. We'll have a lot of fun doing it. But it's already past 11:30, so we got to get ourselves out of here and prepared for that Q&A. So right down the line, got Miss V, got my man Sean Cantina back from the long weekend, and of course, Brendan Wickens. I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you in 5 for the Q&A, and then back at the close.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.